concluded the defense is at liberty to call any of the witnesses that were not called in to testify.
And on that point, my lord, that concludes the leading of the evidence for the state.
Okay.
And we close the state case. It's precisely 3 years since the state started leading evidence, and the state now formally closes its case.
State case closed. Yes. Yes.
The law is very clear that any witnesses who is not called by the state is at the disposal of the defense. We make all witnesses that haven't been called to we make them available to the disposal of the defense.
Medical workers in Sudan say at least 27 people have been killed and more than 40 injured during an attack by the paramilitary rapid support forces in West Kordofan state. The Sudan Doctors Network says civilians in the town of Brima Rashid were attacked inside their homes, and the victims include women and children. The Sudanese army has also been accused of killing civilians during recent airstrikes in Kordofan. Recapping the top story, President Cyril Ramaphosa says the threat of U.S. tariffs has highlighted the need to diversify the export base. Ramaphosa emphasized the importance of the U.S. market for vehicle exports. I'm on Delambana for SFM News headlines at 3:30.
In sports this summer, Proteas named strong side for Aussie white ball tour. Farrell named on bench for revamped Lions in second test, and Nigarg shines with BP in 400-meter hurdles. More details at 3:30.
CFI, a global leader in online trading, is now in South Africa. Access 15,000 plus instruments, currencies, stocks, metals, crypto CFDs, indices, futures, and more on world-class platforms. Enjoy zero pip spreads, no commission fees, and 24/7 support for confident trading. Visit cfi.trade for a secure, transparent trading experience. Don't miss the National Pulse with Ashraf Garda, Tuesdays at 16:45. Proudly sponsored by CFI. CFI Financial, an authorized financial services provider. T's and C's apply.
I was in another insurance company and I wasn't happy. One of my colleagues was also without insurance and she was happy. My niece is without insurance and she's happy. Then I just decided I wanted that happiness.
What was the real deal they could offer you?
870.
Every month?
Every month.
That's amazing. You're always getting something out.
Yeah.
Go to outsurance.co.za now for a 10-minute quote that could save you thousands.
What brought you and Outsurance together?
Let me just jump on the call with them. Let me just see what's happening. He asked a lot of things about my vehicle, my sexy vehicle over here.
Ooh.
Yeah. And to my surprise, 718 Rand I ended up saving. And this awesome product called Panic Assist. 24-hour security if we need their help. Thinking I'm a father, I need to look out for my family.
Absolutely. They gave you the real deal.
It literally is the real deal.
Go to outsurance.co.za now for a 10-minute quote that could save you thousands. Licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's and information online.
Breaking news. SARS has enhanced the personal income tax return form. It has simpler questions that adapt to your income and deductions based on your answers. Whether you're employed or self-employed, the digital form has built-in guidance and the option to save and finish later. Tax matters, so does your time. File with ease on e-filing or the SARS Mobi app today. Go to sars.gov.za. SARS, at your service.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday the 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. SAFM, in collaboration with the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz, brings you the Jazz for Young People concert happening at the National School of the Arts on the 26th of July 2025. Tune in to Seasons and the soundtrack of your life. broadcasting live. This unique event is a powerful celebration of youth, creativity, and community spirit. Bring the whole family to enjoy a wonderful day of world-class jazz from young musicians, curated by Zoe Mudicha, featuring National School of the Arts Band, Willow Crescent Magnet School of Music Band, Biko's Manor, and many others. Have fun while doing good. Tickets are available at Quicket for just 80 Rand and 50 Rand for kids under 12. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. The National Pulse, weekdays, 3 to 6 p.m.
John Gerika on SAFM.
Hello, Johnny and Ashraf this afternoon. Good to be along with you on, what's today? Thursday already. Thursday the 24th of July. Christmas just around the corner. Welcome to the show. It's a busy show, a busy hour. So let's get into what's coming up this hour. It's liberation movements are having a gathering. It's the Liberation Movement Summit 2025. We're going to find out why. Defending the liberation gains, advancing integration, integrated socio-economic development, strengthening solidarity for a better Africa. That's the sub-note on the headline of the Liberation Movement Summit. We're going to talk to the ANC national spokesperson in just a moment and find out what that's all about. Our Global Watch today, moving to 20 to 4, we're going to find out about Zimbabwe, who are pushing ahead with plans to introduce a controversial law that bans any form of criticism of the government. The new law will encourage Zimbabweans, they say, to be patriotic. Some people disagree with that. Some people agree with that. We'll speak to a Zimbabwean journalist and find out what the plans of that law is. And then, as you heard in the news, Meyiwa trial, the state concluding its case today. It's, 3 years since that started. And we will get an update from our reporter, Paul Magubane, who's been watching that in court today. We'll see what implications that has, and then what the defense has to do now in reply. Later on, we will talk about 3 suspects who've been arrested for murder and attempted murder in Chiwelo in Soweto. We'll hear from the EFF later on as well. They had a press conference this afternoon. It was live earlier, but in case you missed that, we will bring you clips from EFF Commander-in-Chief Julius Malema, who spoke about a number of issues, including Kenny Kunene, also the Police National Commissioner. So a host of conversations there. We'll hear what he has to say. And then we will talk to the Northwest University. Some good news. They are hoping that they will get their own academic hospital. The health minister has announced plans to add more academic hospitals in South Africa. Northwest doesn't have one, and the Northwest University is saying, please remember us, we're around. We have ourselves our own new medical school, the Desmond Tutu School of Medicine, so a medical hospital, a hospital would go along nicely with that. So we'll talk about that later on in the show. As always, your comments, your feedback, 086 000 2032 is the phone number, 086 000 2032, or you can send us a WhatsApp voice note. Those numbers are always open as well on 0614 104 107.
SAFM is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio.
John Gerika on SAFM.
Plenty to talk about. Those phone lines are always open. The WhatsApp lines are open. We take texts as well, so we don't mind reading a text. But let's go to Zimbabwe first, get an update on what's happening there. As I said, Zimbabwe, where ZANU-PF MPs are said to be pushing ahead with plans to introduce a controversial law that bans any form of criticism of the government. They're of the view the new law will encourage Zimbabweans to be patriotic. However, those opposed to the laws have described it as draconian, an attempt to stifle dissent. Let's talk to Lennon Ndebele, Zimbabwean journalist. Lennon, good chatting to you again. Thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Tell us about this law. What are they hoping to implement?
Well, it was raised in Parliament, and it's nothing new, really. There was something similar called the Patriotic Bill that was proposed in 2023. Nothing came out of it, and it's the same thing now. They want to push the same agenda and say, we don't want people who are going to be critical of the government, people who speak ill of the president, people who criticize government projects and so on.
Do you see this one going further than the previous attempt?
Well, it could, because as we talk right now, we don't see a strong opposition in Parliament. The opposition is somewhat in agreement with a lot of things that are being pushed by the ZANU-PF government.
Okay, so let's talk about what could be implemented here. It says here in Zimbabwe, violations could result in life imprisonment and death, termination of citizenship, suspension from voting or holding public office.
Well, that's very draconian. I don't see it happening to that extent because, I mean, we live in an open world now. We're not in isolation from everyone else, Fine, there is democracy and human rights violations in Zimbabwe, but it can't go as far as being that draconian. I don't see those provisions going in, but probably threats of jailing, like they are jailing journalists and people who are critical of the government right now.
One of the terms they're using is people won't be able to speak evil about Zimbabwe. That's such a wide range. It could be anything. Will they be more specific about what speaking evil about a country is?
Well, they didn't give it much thought because it was just raised by a parliamentarian. But I'm sure when they sit down, they'll try to come up with something that is logical. Say, for example, there is the Logan Act in America. That's their excuse of coming up with such kind of laws. So basically, talking evil of one's government is maybe saying ZANU-PF has failed.
So, and you could go to jail for that.
Yeah.
What is the current state of the media in Zimbabwe, and then when it comes to citizens want to let's try that again. You broken up. What's the current state of the media in Zimbabwe? How free is it at the moment? Are you still there, Lennon? Right,
Are you there?
Yeah, all right. I was worried that you were cut off already by the laws. How free?
You never know.
How free is the media in Zimbabwe at the moment?
Well, the media is suffering from many fronts. One of them being the economy. Journalists are poorly paid, and you find that you have journalists who are compromised on that front, and you also have the jailing of journalists like Blessed Mhlanga was recently jailed, and there was Faith Zaba, his boss. So basically, the media is not free in Zimbabwe.
And when it comes to private individuals, use of social media, are they free to say what they want?
Well, one advantage with social media is that you don't know who's tweeting or you don't know who's posting something on X. Someone might be doing from some dungeon somewhere. So it's pretty hard to really come down to the person who's doing these things. But I think people should know that the regime also has what it calls Varakashi, a team of cyber bullies that are hired by ZANU-PF to attack certain individuals.
Online. So if somebody says something, then suddenly you get attacked by a bunch of bullies.
Varakashi, yeah.
Valakashi. Say it again.
Varakashi.
Varakashi.
Yes.
Sure. And obviously that shuts it down quickly because you don't want to have that attack.
Yes.
So, they talk about these laws. It seems as if they're in place already. It's just going to they're just going to put it down in black and white.
Yeah, it's just a matter of putting it in black and white once it's approved. But for now, well, people are being ghosted all over,
How are Zimbabweans getting their news, and what news are they getting?
Well, with the advent of social media now, anything can pass as news. Fake news is all over, and we have websites that are also legitimate. But most of our news comes from South Africa. Journalists write freely for the international press, and at times they use pseudonyms. So basically, once you do that, you're a bit safe.
I want to get back to these proposed laws that Zimbabwe are thinking of bringing in. Obviously, the citizens can't be too happy with this. Besides this opposition, this weak opposition you were talking about earlier, are there protests? Are people speaking out against this kind of patriotic act?
No, not really. But you have civic society being frank and open about it. At times, when these things are said, they are said in Parliament, and as journalists, we ignore them because we feel at times they are not really news worth following up because they don't push a development agenda. But you have civic society talking a lot about these things.
I see the Crisis in Zimbabwe Coalition saying when you see a government passing repressive laws, just know that it's not a popular government. Zimbabweans must fight to defend the constitution. Will Zimbabweans do that?
I don't see them doing that. I'm sorry.
Sure. All right, Lennon, thank you very much. We'll keep an eye on that. Lennon Ndebele, Zimbabwean journalist in Zimbabwe. Those new laws that they are talking about. ZANU-PF MP saying they're pushing ahead with plans to introduce this controversial law banning any form of criticism of the government. What do you make of that? Give us a call, 086 000 2032. Our WhatsApp number, 0614 104 107.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
This Mandela Month, SAFM celebrates the spirit of Ubuntu, calling on all South Africans to engage, uplift, and do good for one another. Let's share what we have, lend a helping hand, and honor Madiba's legacy through kindness and action. Join SAFM as we bring you powerful conversations, inspiring stories, and voices that drive change all month long. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
Despite defeats in the semi-finals, the Black Queens and Banyana demonstrated real character. They are now hunting for the bronze medallion and the third place finish. This is the Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2024. Catch the meeting between the West and the South. Ghana tackles South Africa this Friday, 25 July at 5:30 p.m. Streaming live on SABC Plus, SABC 3, and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available on SABC radio stations at 6 p.m. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
Even higher, this time South Africa's favourite stars are back at the briefcase, playing for charities close to home and close to the heart. Big names, big hearts, big deals. Don't miss Deal or No Deal Celebrity South Africa, Saturdays at 6 p.m. on SABC 1. Mzansi for sure.
Across South Africa, online and on radio. SAFM, let's talk.
Couple of voice notes coming in about a number of topics already. We are still hoping to talk to the ANC about the Liberation Movement Summit. And I believe in about 20 minutes or so, we'll be able to talk about that. As an introduction, the ANC will host the Liberation Movement Summit in Johannesburg. It says here, critical gathering mandated by the 11th meeting of the Secretaries General of the Six Sister Parties. It'll unite South African liberation movements, offer a platform to reaffirm the principles of freedom, unity and equality, principles that define these movements. The theme for the summit, defending the liberation gains, advancing integrated socio-economic development, strengthening solidarity for a better Africa. And it says it underscores the urgency of safeguarding these legacies, responding to contemporary socio-economic pressures, while reinforcing African solidarity amid evolving challenges. We're going to ask them about that in a little while, right around 20 minutes or so from now. Right now, though, let's take some voice notes. Plenty have come through already. 0614 104 107.
Hello, John, your team and the listeners. The Liberation Movement conference that they're going to be having, please ask the ANC if one of the agenda point, a very important one, are they going to plead with each other to stop stealing, to stop corruption? Thank you.
Good day, John. Hope you are well. Nice to have you. All right. This is Desha from Pambridge. You know, when it comes to South Africa, most things are intriguing. You find people with criminal records struggling to find employment. And then you find politicians of which they have criminal records having being presidents. And those people, should it happen that their party win, they can run the country. So Other things are funny, but who am I to judge our country?
John, yes, that sounds crazy. Well, it doesn't sound like the President Mnangagwa has officially backed this yet or anything. But if he does, it's gonna make us all wish we had Mugabe back, because this sounds like Mugabe 2.0, 10.0.
There was talk. I think it kind of fell away, and it was sort of conservative social media writers and reporters that were talking about the Film Amendments Bill or something like that. There was sort of a back entry, a back door to be able to control what we're allowed to say on social media. There were things about licenses, and if you wanted to be on YouTube, you needed a license or things. That I think that's kind of fallen away. It may or may not be there, but yeah, we need to be careful to have these kind of laws that stop you from criticizing the government. And I get it. If you're a government and all you see is the negative comments and replies to what you're putting there, and some ministers try very hard, and the first thing that they get is criticism. And you kind of think, well, I've got the power to shut you down. Why must I take this criticism? But if you're, what is that saying? A true patriot wants the better of their country. And if somebody in charge is not there for the betterment of the country, then surely your job as a patriot is to criticize. What do you think? 086 000 2032. Some more voice notes.
Good afternoon, John and SFM listeners. John, regarding this meeting of revolutionary parties, the revolutionary parties of South Africa, Botswana, Zambia, and Namibia, they must be bold enough to solve this issue of oppression in Zimbabwe. They must tell openly, these ZANU-PF leaders, they must stop oppressing people in Zimbabwe. It's not a secret. You see, the silent diplomats of this revolution is the one which made the situation in Zimbabwe bad like this today, because they maintained silent diplomat, especially from the Mugabe regime. They held him. So, thanks.
Hey, how's it, John, my guy? This is me being idealistic here, but maybe the liberation movements will gather around, have a discussion, have a talk about, hey guys, how about we stop looting for a change and actually, work progressively towards emancipating our nations. If that could be the only agenda they have on the meeting, and they actually fulfill that, it would work out for the better for all of us. Because under these circumstances, it's tough. All of the liberation movements, everywhere you go, every country in Africa, all of them are looting. Our very own is looting. School nutrition program, everything.
Hello, John. Always good to hear your voice. This is Tabisa. John, we are living in an era of the world or the country's being led by criminal leaders, autocracy as well, and just complete disregard for humanity. Look what is happening here in the US. Judges have been purged, they've been purged, many of them, those who are anti-Trump. And I guess those who are anti-lawlessness, because that's what is currently happening here. And in South Africa with Mokgwenazi, and now in Zimbabwe, in Swaziland, where they accepted criminals from the US. We are living in an era of Armageddon, and I guess we can only save by the Almighty. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Some of your voice notes, 0614 104 107. By the way, the liberation movements, I can't quite see the logo of the last one. It's the ANC, MPLA, SWAPO, FRELIMO, and ZANU-PF that are going to be having this gathering in Gauteng. We're going to hear about that in about 10 minutes or so after news and finance and traffic and those things. Let's go to Jock in KwaZulu-Natal. You want to talk about South Africa? Go ahead, Jock.
Good afternoon, John.
What do you have to say?
I've been hearing about
All right, Jock, your phone line's gone a little bit bad. Let's try and move you around a little bit. See if you can start again.
day we're talking about. Yeah.
All right, Jock's phone line's not great. Can we see if we can get Jock on a better line? I'm sure he's got something important to say. We've got a minute or so to be able to squeeze Jock in. 086 000 2032. We'll see if he's better. Can we try one more time? No, Jock seems to have gone away, which is bad news. So coming up in a moment, we will be having Tumi with the sport headlines. Doing well in 400-meter hurdles, I heard. We've got to find out about that. Traffic update with Irma or Rob. We'll find out in a bit. And then some news later on after 4 o'clock. 2 17-year-old teenage boys and a 20-year-old man allegedly caught breaking into a house in Chawelo in Soweto. The owner of the house and a few community members took matters into their own hands and assaulted them. We will hear from the Gauteng police spokesperson more on that story, get an update on that. And the FF held a media briefing today ahead of their 12th anniversary celebrations taking place in Cape Town this weekend. Julius Malema addressed the media talking about what to expect this weekend, but he also touched on a host of current affairs, including the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner, factions in the police, and also Kenny Kunene, that's been making news as well. So that's going to come up just before 5 o'clock today. And we'll get an update not only from the ANC national spokesperson on this Liberation Movement Summit, we'll also get political analyst Dr. Ntsikelelo Breakfast to analyze that. The doc will be hearing what the ANC have. And I'm also going to ask the ANC spokesperson about this US bill that has been proposed in the United States, proposing sanctions for certain members of the ANC. So that's all coming up in the show. It's 3:30.
Thank you, John. On the news headlines, President Cyril Ramaphosa says the threat of U.S. tariffs has highlighted the need to diversify the export base. Ramaphosa emphasized the importance of the U.S. market for vehicle exports. Health Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi says a new TB vaccine could be the biggest game changer in South Africa's fight against tuberculosis, HIV and AIDS. And the EFF says it has chosen to host its 12th anniversary celebrations in Khayelitsha in Cape Town because it's where the marginalized reside. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the N3 northbound in Bedfordview is slow moving on the link to the N12 east at Kilulis interchange. The N1 northbound in Fourways has a crash reported before Winnie Mandela Drive, and the M1 southbound in central Johannesburg slow moving towards Crown interchange. In KZN, the N2 northbound has roadworks reported with traffic restrictions after Queen Nandi Drive. And in Cape Town, the N1 outbound slow moving towards Okavango Drive. Dlasani Road is closed between Walter Sisulu Road and Oscar Mpeta Road in Khayelitsha due to protest action, and Victoria Road outbound slow moving through Woodstock. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
This is SAFM Sports with Tumi Nkapele.
Tumi!
I've been waiting to say this. Welcome back.
Rule 1 of radio is no in-jokes, but that's a good in-joke. I like that one. What's happening with the Proteas? The squad's been announced.
Yes, the Proteas men's head coach Shukri Conrad has named full-strength squad for the upcoming white ball tour against Australia. Batters Deval Brevis and Luandre Pretorius have been included, with off-spinner Prinilan Subrayan also earning a maiden limited overs call-up. Having rested several regulars for the Tri-Series tournament in Zimbabwe this month, that also includes New Zealand, the Proteas have recalled Aiden Markram, Kagiso Rabada, Ryan Rickleton and Tristan Stubbs. Marco Jansen misses out on the tour through injury, and Markram will captain the T20 side, and Themba Bavuma will lead the one-day team. Meanwhile, India are waiting on the results of a scan to key man Rishabh Pant after the wicket-keeper suffered a foot injury on the opening day of the fourth test against England. Now, Pant was hit on the right foot attempting a reverse sweep at England pacer bowler Chris Wokes and had to be taken from the field on a cart. The 27-year-old was in clear discomfort from a visible lump on the side of the foot. In football, Marcus Rashford says that he's looking forward to working with Lamine Yamal at Barcelona, a player that he considers to be one of the best in the world. Barca announced Rashford as their latest signing on a season-long loan, which includes an option to buy worth £26 million, and Barca reportedly paying him £300,000 per week in wages. And I literally tried to convert that. It's basically 7.1 million rand a week.
Shame, man.
Shame.
Shame. Is
Shame.
that all? How are they going to cope? Do you know how much a beer costs in the UK?
Sure, yeah. But in the meantime, Chelsea have opened talks with the Ajax over a move for centre back Jorel Hato, while pushing ahead with the interest in RB Leipzig forward Xavi Simons. Now, Hato has emerged as one of Europe's most promising young defenders after an impressive campaign, making 31 appearances last season, while Chelsea are still discussing personal terms with Simons. Then in rugby, Owen Farrell was named on the bench as the British and Irish Lions made 7 changes to their match day 23. This is for the second test against Australia at Melbourne Cricket Ground. And prop Andrew Potter and centre Bandi Aki all come into the starting side in place of Elias Genke, who drops to the bench, and the likes of Joe McCarthy, who are both injured. Then in athletics, despite running a personal best in the women's 400-meter hurdles heats at the FISU World University Games, Hannah van Niekerk could have just approached to push for gold. Van Niekerk powered through the semi-finals with a strong 56.16 on the clock and will be on lane 4 tonight.
It felt really, really good. I really had to focus on little key points to ensure that I can go through to the final. And I actually ran a PB, so I'm super, super happy. And then tomorrow anything can happen, so we'll go for gold. Yes, I mean, it definitely motivates you. And once you see they have a medal, you also really want one even more. So definitely motivates us to keep working hard and keep going.
Finally, in tennis, top seed Taylor Fritz romped into the last 16 of the ATP WTA DC Open as Russian 8th seed Daniil Medvedev overcame an early scare to advance to the third round. Now, Fritz cruised past Australia's Alexandra Vukic 6-3, 6-2 in 59 minutes. On that note, there's a wrap from my side for now. I'll have more in the next hour.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
Lawang Ramalepe right back. What lightens up my mood is music, R&B, sometimes it's Lokombo, sometimes reggae. I was good in athletics. I used to run the 800 meters. Me as a president, hey, what I would change? Unemployment and fixing the economy. To all our fans, you can watch the game on SABC Sport. We are the African champions. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects.
Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
Keeping your family healthy this winter can feel like a daunting task. Try the Lung Shield range. It includes capsules to support healthy lungs and immunity, a syrup for kids that supports the immune system and promotes lung health, and an effervescent with 13 essential ingredients to optimize immune function. Put your family's health first this winter with the Lung Shield range. Available without a prescription at leading pharmacies. Lung Shield, prescribed by doctors, recommended by pharmacists.
Hear the rhythm, feel the heat at the Imbaula Music Festival in partnership with SAFM, where music, culture, and community come alive. Join us on the 2nd of August 2025 at Pretoria Botanical Gardens from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. to vibe to Sanal Musician, Calvin Momo, Amanda Black, Zing Lumalo, Trompis, and many more. More than just music. Share stories, spark change, and unite against gender-based violence. Grab your tickets at imbaula.co.za. Brought to you by SAFM and SABC One. Hear the rhythm, feel the heat. Imbaula.
Despite defeats in the semi-finals, the Black Queens and Banyana demonstrated real character. They are now hunting for the bronze medallion and the third place finish. This is the Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2024. Catch the meeting between the West and the South. Ghana tackles South Africa this Friday, 25 July at 5:30 p.m. Streaming live on SABC Plus, SABC 3, and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available on SABC radio stations at 6 p.m. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Listening to John Gerika on SAFM.
Say it again. Should we play it again? Huh? Play it again so we can make sure. We can make it. We can make it work.
You are listening to John Gericka on SFM.
It's 4:20. You're with SAFM, John in for Ashraf. It's we're going to talk about this Liberation Movement Summit in just a moment. We're loving your views on there. There's lots of WhatsApps and SMSs that are coming through. We'll read those out for you later, and we'll play those as well. As always, phone lines are open, 086 000 2032, and you can also send us a WhatsApp, 0614 104 107. Let's go into this ANC, or this Liberation Movement Summit. We can't dispute the fact that liberation movements have played a pivotal role in fighting for national independence, self-determination, the establishment of a state based on the will of the people. We also need to acknowledge the fact that many of them, once in power, struggled to translate that liberation rhetoric into tangible improvements in people's lives, often leads to disillusionment and a loss of popular support, like we've witnessed in recent years. To assess and address some of the challenges faced by the movements, as from tomorrow, the ANC will host the Liberation Movement Summit, aimed at revitalizing, strengthening and enhancing relations between the iconic movements, while also trying to using the platform to revisit some of the key principles that define the movements. What's gone wrong? Why is their credibility under threat? Let's talk to ANC National Spokesperson Mahlengi Bengu-Motsiri. Mahlengi, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for joining us. I've given a nutshell of this movement summit. Just who's going to be getting involved?
Thank you for having us. It is a number of political formations from within the continent, and particularly from within our region, but with a number of observer parties that are coming from as far away as Nicaragua, Vietnam, China, and many other parts of the world that shares in the common values with the ANC of building peace, friendship, and solidarity, which is part of an important injunction contained in the Freedom Charter, whose 70 years we are celebrating this year.
In your concept note, you've got the paragraph, which is your introduction, just as you've said. Your second part is probably the most important one of the lot. Historical legacy, which we get, contemporary relevance. Is that going to be the focus? How do liberation movements of the past be contemporarily relevant?
Well, it is important that when we look at liberation movements and the strides they've made in the decoloniality project to free people from colonialism and to ensure that we embark on self-determination, something that has been achieved by a number of jurisdictions, it is now important to cast and shine a spotlight on some of the stubborn challenges that continue to bedevil different countries, and these are largely poverty, inequality, and unemployment, and making sure that democracy works, making sure that institutions that are aimed at protecting democracy and democratic institutions indeed are preserved and are supported, making sure that the rule of law and constitutionalism is upheld by all liberation movements, as well as all of those that are considered to be our sister parties across the world.
I think you used the word stubborn challenges. One could argue that some of those stubborn challenges you mentioned are because of the liberation movement.
Well, that's often in the public discourse, and that cannot be discounted. So this is a self-reflection summit, really, if you think about it. We also need to reflect on the successes that have been made. I mean, let's take the example of South Africa. 31 years later, after the installation of the national democracy and the democratic constitution, we can attest to a lot of gains that have been scored by those people that were historically oppressed. Access to education, access to health care, ensuring that the state carries a big part of the responsibility for ensuring that those people who do not have the means to access health care, agriculture, and education, and access to policing, particularly community policing, both in rural and urban settings, that those things have been accomplished. And of course, there are major misses that have got to be taken into account as part of this self-reflection. We do not believe that it is a story of doom and gloom all round. There are many successes that we must reflect on and find strategies to consolidate those things. And the things where we have not done well as liberation movements, how do we navigate those and how do we overcome those challenges? The idea that it is the liberation movements and those formations or governing parties that are historically known as liberation movements, this idea that they've not done anything for their people is untrue if facts which are so stubborn can be presented. I can use the example of South Africa again. There are so many examples to show how, for example, billions have been spent on enabling young people to access post-secondary school education, including young women, including in fields and disciplines where previously that was not possible.
But
we can speak up.
You could give all the positives, Mahlengi, but if I open the lines now, and just off the top of my head, for every one that you give, I can think of 2 examples that are negative.
Well, nobody's saying that there are no negatives, and I think that is what I've already made a very clear concession point on that. I don't even think that is a matter that can be contentious in terms of all of us agreeing on that. But I think it is disingenuous to take away the gains that have been made by a number of liberation movements. And of course, you also can't paint all liberation movements with the same brush. The strategies are different. In context, the contemporary challenges are different. If you look at what has been done in Tanzania to ensure that people have got access to land, may not exactly be the same experience.
Is that the phone line going out? Let's hope. Can we try and get a better phone line? Mahlengi Bongo Motsiri is the ANC national spokesperson. We're talking about the Liberation Movement Summit 2025. Mahlengi, are you there? No, we seem to have lost the line, so we'll get that on the line as well. Still have that if they're going to talk about the corruption. And then I also want to ask them about that bill that's been proposed in the US as well. It's slightly separate from that, but as the ANC national spokesperson, that'll affect, or she will have those details as well. It's 3:45. You're with SAFM. John Kerrick in for Ashraf. We got Mahlengi back on the line again. Sorry, Mahlengi. Let's talk about when I introed the fact that you're having this summit. We took some voice notes and calls. One that came up straight away was, will you be discussing the corruption in not just in South Africa, but in the other countries where these liberation movements have been?
Absolutely. That is one of the issues that when I spoke about the challenges of governance and protecting institutions that are aimed at fostering democratic governance, there is no escaping the matter of corruption. The matter of corruption that has got to be contended with by countries that are not necessarily led by liberation movements anyway. It is a phenomenon that is global, and it is not just state-led corruption. It's also corporate capture corruption that has got to be faced on by these liberation movements. So very genuine and sincere self-reflection is what I was stressing at the beginning. I don't think it's an exercise of self-congratulatory exercise when the summit takes place. There are some very strong topics and themes that are going to be explored. You do have our concept note. I am certain that you have a sense of the depth of conversation that is anticipated.
Do you feel that at the end of this conference that leaders will go back to their countries, go back to their organizations and start making changes, or is this just a big talk shop?
Well, I mean, a number of these countries are currently participating actively in the G20 process, which is also focusing on all of these methods ventilating at a party-to-party level. These countries, most of them have got affiliation to the BRICS community of nations. These matters are before the BRICS. And we trust that all the leaders of the world should take a dim view, for example, as it regards to the pandemic of corruption, because it robs our people of the democratic dividend that they so require. So I don't think that it is something to be overly pessimistic about. We must allow countries, we must allow organizations such as the African National Congress to go into these meetings and do a self-reflection alongside their peers it is important to also come together to remind ourselves about the historical mission for why these liberation movements were set up by the founding fathers, such as Julius Nyerere, Nelson Mandela, Joaquim Chissano, and Sam Nujoma, and others that have come and went, and to ensure that we return to the best values that underscored the establishment of these liberation organizations.
Mlingi, while I've got you as the ANC national spokesperson, there is this the bill introduced by the United States Congress reviewing relations within South Africa and sanctioning some politicians. What is the ANC's current view on that?
Our current view on that is that I think South Africans and all of us should keep a watching brief on this, because this bill is a proposed bill. It's not yet law. It is going through the different parliamentary processes of the U.S. Congress. We ourselves are going to be making our own representations through our international allies, particularly the anti-apartheid campaigners that we still are in touch with in the United States. We know the history of Ronnie Jackson in terms of the positions that he has always been articulating that lend themselves to right-wing extremism. In fact, this is not the first time a punitive bill against South Africa has been proposed by himself, even when he was in the state of Texas. And so we must also follow the narrative and not just react on what we see here and yesterday. There's a pattern, there's a history to some among the U.S. politicians that have always not frowned upon some of the positions of the African National Congress, namely our position on the genocide in Gaza, our position in taking Israeli to the International Court of Justice, our positions when we campaigned against an end to the embargo, Cuba embargo, and many other positions where we've sided with the oppressed, because we know too well what that means, including our position on Morocco and Western Sahara, calling for self-determination by the Sahrawi people. So it is no surprise to us that we are basically taking flex for the very strong positions that we as a small country on the southern tip of the continent have pursued, the historical ideals led by the likes of Nelson Mandela, to say we can never be free if other parts of the world are not free.
Mahlengi Bengu-Motsiri, ANC National Spokesperson, thank you very much. What do you make of that? And we look forward to seeing what comes out of the Liberation Movement Summit. It's happening from tomorrow. We look forward to hearing what comes out of that. What do you make of all of that? Give us a call, 086 000 2032 or 0614 104 107.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
My name is Casey Gordon. I'm the Banyana goalkeeper. My favorite music is all over the place. I love listening to all kinds of things, but I'd have to say maybe pop culture. My favorite pet is my cat. I love cats. They're so cute. My cat's name is Bailey. My favorite dish is pizza. Obviously, it's not a great dish as an athlete, but I love pizza. When I'm not playing football, I love to be with my friends and my family, and I love playing netball as well.
Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
I'm Michelle Constant. Join the JSB crew and I every Saturday and Sunday morning between 7 and 10 a.m. We promise to keep you informed and entertained with innovation, culture, cars, travel, life learnings, environment, and of course, your big fat juicy. Small stories, big ideas, massive inspiration. The Jet Set Breakfast on SAFM.
Call us on 086 000 2032.
7 minutes to 4 o'clock. Today is the last day of the state's case in the Meyiwa trial, as the witnesses' examination in chief process has been completed. Following this, the defense team will now have an opportunity to call their own witnesses to test the accuracy and reliability of the state's witnesses. Let's find out from a source that can read better than me. Pearl Magubani is SABC News reporter. You've been watching what happened in court today, Pearl. The states, were they looking confident when they closed their case?
Good afternoon, John. Well, the state has always maintained that they have the correct suspects before court, saying that, it was while they were in pursuit of two intruders initially, as per the witness statements, it was the confession of one of the accused that unlocked the web of how this crime unfolded at the time. And that's why it went from 2 to 5 accused before court. And while 2 intruders went in, this confession highlighted the role that one of them had to be a driver, the other one was scouting, and the meeting at a hostel in Fort Lewis where the guns also were seen that allegedly were involved in the murder.
So they've put down their story now. What does the defense have to do? Poke holes in that, or just try and make? You see, I know how the American courts work. How does the South African court work now with the defense?
Well, now that they've had an opportunity to cross-examine every witness that the state has called forward. However, in the witness list, there are people that were not called to testify, and some of those witnesses were key eyewitnesses that were inside the house. That being Kelly Khumalo, who was the former girlfriend of Meyiwa, her mother, and Longetwala. But despite this, they do now have an opportunity to use or call anybody that is on that witness list to the stand. They're allowed to do that. And they're also allowed to call their own witnesses to come and testify, and even put the accused on the stand to tell their side of the story. However, what transpired now, instead of them telling us how they're going to go forward with the case, we now have an application. They say they want to bring forward an application to have the charges dismissed. So, we're only going to hear about if this application will go through or not on the 7th of August, as they're consulting with the legal aid board that is financing the defense's advocates and attorneys that are in court.
From what I understand, it's kind of that's sort of due process, right? They're saying that the prosecution hasn't shown without a shadow of a doubt that these are the criminals, and they did it. So therefore, we're asking the court to throw out the case.
Precisely. They believe the state's case is weak, but the state stands by its evidence, and it's just beyond the witness statements. They also have led cell phone evidence that links the accused to each other and to the alleged mastermind Kelly Khumalo, who was not called to testify. They also have ballistic evidence that connects the ammunition found at the scene to a gun that was seized from one of the accused number 3 to be precise, when he was arrested on a different matter. So they believe they're strong. The case is strong, but the defense believes otherwise.
So the defense, can they bring in their own experts now and say, well, and go against what the state has put forward?
Yes, precisely. They're allowed to do that. We've seen with the ballistic evidence already that they were consulting with their own ballistic expert, who did not testify at the time, but sat into the proceedings just to give them guidance, obviously denying the state's claim. And he did his own tests on the gun and the bullets and the projection, and went into say that no, it can't be that the bullet that was found at the scene was fired from the barrel of the gun allegedly found on one of the accused. So they've been in consultation with different experts throughout the trial, and we're waiting. They will be bringing them to testify.
Let's take a step back. This is the incident happened October 2014. The court case started in 2020. Had to go through a restart in 2023. This is an ongoing matter. It's just amazing the memories that witnesses need and the pressure they must be feeling to bring back the facts in the back of their minds.
We've had instances where some of the police officers that were escorting the accused, when they were brought to the stand, and the utterances would be, I can't remember, it was so long ago, as to the exact details, but they could just paint a general picture. But when it went into the finer details. There were mistakes that were made, obviously, and they went back to the fact that it happened so long ago and they can't remember certain things, especially with the crime scene. Those that attended the crime scene in 2014, it was really difficult for them to break down word for word and know exactly how things unfolded. But, they just relied on their memories, and the court can only trust that what was presented was truthful.
And what is the Meyiwa family going through with all the delays, trials within trials? What are they feeling at the moment?
They've been in KZN following virtually. In the beginning of the trial, they used to come and attend. We used to see the siblings coming, and we know that the father has passed on. But after that, they stopped following proceedings because it just took too long. Like you had explained, that this trial had to start from the beginning, from scratch, in 2023 under a new judge, which means all the evidence had to be ignored that was led from 2022. But, we have not had time to speak to them in a while. We spoke to the family during the 10-year anniversary last year, and we need to touch base again just to see, especially now that the state has wrapped up its cases that are based in KZN, we need to visit that as the SABC and just get their sense of what they're going through at the moment.
The fatigue must be there. Pearl Mangabane, thank you very much. SABC News reporter keeping an eye on the Senzo Meyiwa trial. The defense wrapping up their the state wrapping up their case today. Now the focus shifts to the defense. It'll be interesting to see because the accused will have the chance to testify. Each one can testify. As you heard, they can call witnesses. They can argue the prosecution failed to prove guilt. All of that's still coming ahead. And when it started, court case started 2023. Years and years of these judicial cases. Hopefully we will see some sort of justice coming out of this case. You with SAFM. I'm John Gericke in for Ashraf Garda. Coming up after 4 o'clock, 3 suspects arrested for murder and attempted murder after 2 17-year-old teenage boys and a 20-year-old man allegedly caught breaking into a house in Soweto. And we'll hear from the EFF as well. It's 4 o'clock.
Thank you, John. On the top stories, court sentences a KZN pastor to 10 life imprisonment for rape, and Ramaphosa focuses on broadening South Africa's export base. For SAFM News, I am Ondalambana, and a very good afternoon. A KwaZulu-Natal pastor found guilty of raping young girls at Ngutu has been sentenced to 10 terms of life imprisonment and an additional 70 years. 58-year-old Mandlelisa Mabale faced 10 charges of raping young children, sexual assault, and for exposing children to pornography. He was arrested in September 2022. The court heard that 4 children confessed to their mother that the pastor was raping them. Mabale had pleaded not guilty to all charges. Provincial Police spokesperson Tenji Swangcobo.
The children frequented the place of the pastor and will spend a considerable amount of time in his company. The children will also assist him when he was doing his odd jobs of fixing electrical appliances. Investigation into the matter ensued with the urgency it deserved. Investigations uncovered that Mabale had raped at least 10 children. The victims, who are all minors, informed police detectives that the pastor would lure them to his rented room at Ndidini area, where he would make them watch pornographic material and then rape them.
The last group, consisting of 16 soccer team members who were stranded in Europe, have touched down at Cape Town International Airport. The players from Cape Town have been staying at a hotel in Lisbon, Portugal, for nearly a week after the BT Football Academy allegedly failed to secure their return flights and had to rely on private sponsors and donors. The original group of 28 left the city earlier this month to take part in a football tournament in Spain. They were due to have arrived back on the 16th of this month from Spain. The grandmother of one of the players, Mary Ann van der Heever, expressed her excitement at his return.
If they don't say how we as parents feel, then I don't know South Africa. That was from our hearts. We are extremely thankful and extremely and extremely, extremely happy.
President Cyril Ramaphosa says the threat of U.S. tariffs has highlighted the need to diversify the export base. Ramaphosa emphasized the importance of the U.S. market for vehicle exports. South Africa is set to face 30% tariffs across the board from Friday next week. Ramaphosa gave the keynote address at the BMW Group plant in Rosslyn, north of Pretoria.
So as we face this threat of the higher tariffs, we need to open our eyes and our ears and see where else can our vehicles go. Now, it's good that the X3 will be going to Europe, but we need to open up the African market as well.
Health Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi says a new TB vaccine could be the biggest game changer in South Africa's fight against tuberculosis, HIV and AIDS. Motsoaledi was addressing the TB vaccine preparedness workshop in Sandton, north of Johannesburg. The two-day event has been organized by his department in collaboration with the World Health Organization. TB experts are providing an update on the clinical trials that are underway and also sharing ideas on how the vaccine would be funded, developed and distributed if it is successful. Motsoaledi elaborates.
We have got to work much more than what we could do with other vaccines to make sure that this vaccine is rolled out. It will be revolutionary for high-burden countries like ours. We saw how fast vaccines could be developed during COVID-19. But we have also learned during that period that science alone is not enough. You need public trust, you need strong systems, you need clear communication, but you also need equitable access for the whole population.
The EFF says it has chosen to host its 12th anniversary celebrations in Khayelitsha in Cape Town because it's where the marginalized reside. The event, which takes place this weekend, was scheduled for the Eastern Cape but had to be changed due to the recent floods that devastated the province. Speaking during a media briefing in Cape Town, party leader Julius Malema highlighted the importance of celebrating in a location where the majority of the poor working class reside. He says the event will be a festival of the poor.
The chosen venue of Khayelitsha is significant. It is the second largest township in South Africa, home to thousands of poor and working class Africans who continue to live under the weight of spatial apartheid and deliberate underdevelopment. Khayelitsha remains fiscally and economically separated from the so-called world-class parts of Cape Town. When the DA-led city speaks of a smart city, they are not referring to Khayelitsha. It is for this reason that the EFF has chosen to host its 12th anniversary in Khayelitsha. We must be where the people are.
Recapping the top story, a KwaZulu-Natal pastor found guilty of raping young girls at Ngutu has been sentenced to 10 terms of life imprisonment and an additional 70 years. I'm Mondela for SFM News Headlines at 4:30.
In sports this hour, Victor excited ahead of the 2025 Netball Youth World Cup. Seoposen was sticking to her retirement guns and Swart sets sight on gold. This is after gritty 800-meter semi-final run. More details at 4:30.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the N12 eastbound in Boksburg, slow moving towards Rondeboult Road. The N1 northbound in Midrand has a stationary vehicle reported near Allendale Road, and the N1 southbound in Pretoria, a stationary truck before Rigel Avenue. In KZN, the N2 northbound in Isipingo has a crash reported after Joyner Road, and the N3 westbound, a stationary truck before Cato Ridge. In Cape Town, the N2 Nelson Mandela Boulevard outbound queuing towards Hospital Bend, the M5 southbound slow moving towards Cromboom Road exit, and Lesbiac Parkway southbound in Observatory slow moving towards the N2 highway. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
Stay safe on the roads. SAFM is with you.
This July, journey beyond the horizon with Chasing the Sun. 5 mesmerizing episodes every Sunday at 7:30 on SABC2 from 13 July to 10 August. Feel the thrill of the adventure, the power of discovery, and stories that light up the skies. Missed an episode? No worries. Stream anytime, anywhere on SABC Plus No subscription required. Chasing the Sun. Your Sunday nights just got brighter. Tune in to SABC2, Sundays at 7:30 or watch on SABC Plus on demand.
For the love of the game.
Keeping your family healthy this winter can feel like a daunting task. Try the Lung Shield range. It includes capsules to support healthy lungs and immunity, a syrup for kids that supports the immune system and promotes lung health, and an effervescent with 13 essential ingredients to optimize immune function. Put your family's health first this winter with the Lung Shield range. Available without a prescription at leading pharmacies. Lung Shield, prescribed by doctors, recommended by pharmacists.
This Mandela Month, Nelson Mandela once said,
"We have traveled a long journey. We have fought for peace and reconciliation, for social justice, for all men, women, and children."
SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
Despite defeats in the semi-finals, the Black Queens and Banyana demonstrated real character. They are now hunting for the bronze medallion and the third place finish. This is the Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2024. Catch the meeting between the West and the South. Ghana tackles South Africa this Friday, 25 July at 5:30 p.m. Streaming live on SABC Plus, SABC3 and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available on SABC radio stations at 6 p.m. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
The National Pulse, weekdays, 3 to 6 p.m.
John Gerika on SAFM.
Good afternoon, John Gerike in for Ashraf. 10 minutes past 4 o'clock. In 5 minutes or so, we're going to do a live simulcast with Channel Africa. We're going to talk about the G20. A number of questions we're going to ask there. And I think we're focusing on the youth today. Yeah, we are. We're going to focus on the youth, and we're going to find out if they are being represented at the G20 discussions, some of the things that young people will be pushing at the G20 group. So we'll discuss that in about 5 minutes or so from now. In a moment, we're going to hear from the EFF as well. That's just after news headlines and sport at 30:30. We're going to hear from Julius Malema speaking about a number of issues at a press briefing earlier on today. Now, though, let's go to a couple of days ago. You may remember the story. 2 17-year-old teenage boys and a 20-year-old man was allegedly caught breaking into a house in Soweto. The owner of the house and a few community members took matters into their own hands and assaulted them. Gauteng police spokesperson Colonel Dumakatso Nevehulwe has more on the story.
Colonel Dumakatso Nevehulwe, SAPS Gauteng. 3 suspects have appeared before Protea Magistrates Court on the 23rd of July 2025 on a charge of murder and attempted murder, and they have been remanded in custody for bail application. It is alleged that on the 21st of July, 2 17-year-old teenage boys and a 20-year-old man were caught breaking in at a house in Shawelo. The owners of the house, together with some community members, reportedly assaulted them. The 20-year-old has since succumbed to his injuries, while the 2 teenagers are still in hospital. The police urge the public to refrain from using vigilante acts in the name of justice, but rather work together with the police to allow the law to take its course. Criminal activities can be reported on the Crime Stop line at 08600 10111 or anonymously give tip-offs on MySubs app, which can be downloaded on any smartphone. Police investigations continue in this matter.
In another story, you heard it in the news, you heard the happiness. A group of soccer players who were stuck in Europe, some of those last players arrived back home today. SABC News' Vanessa Puna spoke to some of the boys at Cape Town International Airport.
Of absolute joy on the face of family members and friends as the young ones that were stranded abroad for the past week have finally returned. Please tell me your name and how you are feeling right now.
I'm Brian Bande and I'm feeling
well, good and excited to be back home, to be honest, and seeing my parents again.
Because that must be a moment. I see mom and dad. Is that mom and dad?
Yes.
I see tears all around. The past week must have been very difficult for you. How have you been communicating with them?
I've been communicating them through phone and all that, like just calling them, and it has been very good, very nice, a very good experience.
The tournament itself, that was enjoyed. Tell us a bit about that.
The competition, I can't lie, it's very heavy, to be honest. In Spain, they were very, very good, but we actually pushed. We came 16th out of 256 teams. So,
okay, I'll give you a moment to reunite with your family. Of course, they're just some of the family members. Another young man that has returned. Your name to me, please, sir.
Anati Zelembe.
And you've been away from your family. I see very excited smiles on the face of mom and grandma. Tell us how you feel to be back.
I feel good. I feel excited. Even overseas, we're fine. We enjoyed the experience as well. In the midst of everything else that happened, God still prevailed, and all glory to Him, all and truly. Yeah.
So, of course, parents are worried on this side, but have you at least had some time to take in the sights, etc.? Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, it was fun actually. So we never planned to actually go to Portugal. It was only Spain. So it was very, 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 very exciting as well to see the different cities in Spain and in Portugal also. Portugal, I enjoyed it very much. So it was exciting.
Mama, you were smiling just now. You were crying just now. Tell us how you feel to have your boy back home.
I'm so pleased. God is great. I believe God because I was worried, I was stressed. Now my grandson is here. God is great.
That report from Vanessa Puna at Cape Town International Airport. Only the youth can make it. Yeah, we're all worried, and they were stuck in Portugal and they couldn't get out. And they said, "Well, I was fine. We got to see Portugal. It was a surprise." See, positive little views like that. You're with SAFM. We're going to be going live with Channel Africa in just a moment. I think we've got time for a voice note. We squeeze in a voice note or two before we go live, and we start talking about the G20. Wait for that to load up, and then we'll be able to play that for you. There we go.
Hi, John Herriga and the SFM listener. John Herriga, you know, if you're looking at this, wherever there's a white person, that thing, any establishment, it got future. You know, there is those establishments like brewery and others started by the whites, you know, Coca-Cola and so. It's still like on and then employ millions of people. But any black establishment, it's just lasting until it's death, like maybe, and then after that, it's vanishing into the like thin air. There is nothing black is doing like it perpetuating.
All right, let's go live with Channel Africa now. It's Channel Africa's in Africa in Business, anchored by Thabisile Hoko. We're going to hear him in a moment. And I'm John Gericke, anchoring the National Pulse for Ashraf Garda. What's happening at the moment? Let me introduce you to the G20, first of all. It's an international forum comprising both developing and developed countries, hosts a series of working groups to find solutions to global economic and financial issues. Various other groupings, such as the Business 20, the B20, the Urban 20, and the Youth 20, to name a few, are also meeting on the sidelines to reflect on various priority agendas.
G20 in Africa, exclusive to Channel Africa and SAFM, championing Africa through solidarity, equality, and sustainability.
Today we will reflect on the Youth 20 Summits. Y20 enables dialogue between young people from G20 member countries in order to influence debates and to contribute to the preparation of public policies. To discuss how young leaders' preparation for public policies, we'll have a guest. His name is Tinashe Mpasiri, and he'll be telling us about how young leaders from all over the world can influence the policy discussions in the lead-up to the G20 summit in November here in South Africa. Tinashe is a member of the 1873 Network and the Director of Corporate Literacy under the Banking on Africa's Future initiative and the composer of the official G20 song under South Africa's G20 presidency. Tinashe, good afternoon. Are you there? Good to see you.
Yes, good afternoon to you, Thabiso, and thank you so much for affording me the opportunity to be on your show this afternoon so that my voice can be heard, especially when we talk about the future I want, the Africa I want, and more importantly, the Africa we want collectively, zooming on South Africa's G20 presidency.
I'm happy that you're touching on the future that you want, Tinashe. Obviously, the Y20 layer of the G20, its existence stands to hear a plurality of voices that will shape the future. In your view, or from what you have seen, is the youth making use of the Y20 platform?
Well, you ask a very interesting question, Tabiso. If I were to really reflect on the G20, South Africa's G20 presidency, and more importantly, zooming on Y20, I happen to have attended the Y20 pre-summit that took place in the month of July. That was at the Innovation Hub in Tshwane. And if I were just to share my experiences of my 2 days of the pre-summit, I firmly believe that the youth, there is more that they can actually do in as far as being part of this wonderful initiative that seeks to bring together, many countries, young people or individuals from many countries, so that through open, frank, and honest conversations, we are able to shape and define the character and personality of the future we want collectively. So if I were to just zoom on the 2 days of the pre-summit, the Y20 pre-summit, my personal experience, the first day, I was actually happy to see the turnout that was there, though, of young people that attended the first day. However, there are certain things that I personally observed during even registration of the summit in itself, where one of the themes of during the pre-summit was centered on digitalization and the role of technology in as far as accelerating opportunities for young people. You find out everything was being done manually. So that in itself was a lesson of where we probably fail as young people, that we want to be at the table to talk about issues. We want to be at the table to be part of framing policy. But are we really geared up for it? So that was one observation. However, I found it as a platform for young people to also learn, for them to be better organized, because I firmly believe that the people who are organized, they have a better chance to access opportunity in life. So the second day, if I were to reflect on the second day of the pre-summit, before the summit began, we had to there was an opportunity for individuals to also reflect on the first day of the summit. If I were to tell you that in as far as reflections on that day, I was the only person, the only individual who actually took the microphone to share about my experiences. The other people were actually silent. And this is the biggest challenge with the youth. They are not showing up when they have been given the opportunity to show up. And one thing that I would also want to just emphasize when I look at the Y20 and the opportunity that is there for the young people, Y20 is not going to do anything for you, but it is what you can do as an individual in the name of Y20. So Y20 is just a platform, and nobody is going to come and save any young person. You, the individual, are the driver of change. So make use of the platforms that are there that can advance you, because through those platforms, there is knowledge sharing, there are insights, there are personal experiences that people share that can help another individual to be inspired so that they can be the best that they can be in whatever field they happen to be in.
Tinashe, it's John here from SAFM. It's all very well telling the youth to talk, but will they be listened to at these meetings?
Come again?
It's all very well telling the youth to be outspoken, but will they be listened to? How many times have the youth been saying things and then their views are just ignored and the old people continue to rule?
I doubt that the young people's voices, when they speak out, they are not listened to. I think I'm also an example of being a young person who's been speaking at any conference that I happen to attend. I actually make the initiative, that I'm the first one to grab the microphone so that my voice can be heard on issues that matter to me. So at the end of the day, if I were to look from when I started attending conferences where I've been raising issues around the rule of law, the causal link between the rule of law and economic development, I can safely say that that has been heard. I can look back at the South African Investment Conference from 2019 going up until 2023 or 2024. The issue of the rule of law, they infused it in the conversation. And if I were to even mention at one conference when I spoke about the rule of law in front of the president and everybody as a question, His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa actually said to me, Tinashe, that was not a question, that was a speech. So at the end of the day, are young people showing up, and are they really passionate about what they want when it comes to their life and their well-being? It's not just about talking, it's also about, action. What sort of action are you taking within your community that you are in to make it a better community? People litter in communities. We can't just talk about climate change without even picking up litter in the very communities that we are staying in. We talk about oceans being filled with plastics, but we are the very same people that can be able to ensure that litter in our communities is picked up by us young people being volunteers, being volunteers first. When you volunteer, you will be noticed. And once you're noticed, you are given the platform to scale up whatever that it is that you're doing.
Tinashe, it's Tabiso again here from Channel Africa. You're raising very important points here. Action, show up, be prepared, speak out. I'd like to find out from you issues such as climate change and sustainability to social justice and economic inclusion. These are some of the issues we are faced with. And I trust youth to be placed at the center of these discussions. Now, what is your sense on those issues?
Well, if you look at social justice, for instance, if you look at even, I think the critical issues, unemployment, poverty, and inequality, I actually think those are just symptoms of actually a bigger problem. So if we're to look just what we call these triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality, when I zoom on poverty, which is one critical issue, there is no shared understanding of what poverty is and what it is not. And when you look at how even the causes of poverty, to say, is it something that is manufactured or is it something, is it a disease? We have not actually zoomed onto that. So when I look at such issues, they are critical to enable us to be able to come up with practical solutions in as far as addressing some of the challenges. I mentioned these are symptoms. I believe that, and I think that the real issue that we have is not a leadership issue. It's not it's more of a moral issue if I were to really look at it. And when I say it's more of a moral issue, when we look at the entrenchment of corruption in public institution and private institution, corruption actually starts at the home level. We always say that charity begins at home. So if in the first community that I happen to belong to, which is my family, because if you look at a nation, it's just an aggregation of communities, and a family is the first community that you belong to. So in those communities, the first community, that's where the solution is to stay. If I see my brother doing something that is wrong, I should be able to point it out. We all have a duty, whether the young and the old, to secure the order we desire. So looking at on the aspect of social justice, it is a very fundamental aspect. Equality is fundamental in our society. But how does it come about? I firmly believe that if we are people who have respect for the rule of law, then that will enable us to overcome these issues of social and economic injustices. So the rule of law in itself, it's an equalizer. Each individual is equal before the law. And the rule of law enables those who are, if you look at people as individuals, by nature we are aspirational. And if you work hard, whatever you work hard for, you want to store that value. And the rule of law enables individuals to be able to work hard and store value without fear that whatever I work for, it will be taken by someone, or someone will come and reap where they did not sow.
Tinashe, the G20 presidency falls on South Africa. 3 priorities: economic growth, industrialization, employment, which you mentioned, reducing inequality, food security, artificial intelligence, data governance, and innovation for sustainable development. Do those priorities address the challenges faced by the youth?
Well, these challenges, they're not just unique to youth. It's challenges that are faced across the board. And it's not only a South African challenge, it's not only an African challenge, it's a human challenge. And when you look at all these priorities, they speak to young people, they speak to old people as well. And it's important that all these underlined priorities, then there's need to really look into them and be able to come up with practical working solutions that can enable us to go far. But one thing that I firmly believe that can enable us to really look at these issues from a perspective which enables young people to also be engaged, I think the manner in which we deliver some of these aspects, it's mostly in conferences where it's talk, it's speeches, and really is there engagement that then brings about a call to action. So one thing that I believe that can also enable us to be able to tackle these issues, is the use of positive music in as far as literacy is concerned, to improve literacy on these key themes that have been highlighted. Because sometimes we come up with themes, but we don't take time to ensure that people, even at the grassroots level, a child in ECD can also understand them. What better way to make it interesting, sexy, and more appealing than music?
Thanks,
everybody
Tinashe.
loves
Thanks,
music.
Tinashe. Thank you very much for your input this afternoon on breaking it down on the road of the Y20 in the G20. I'm happy with your input, and thank you very much. That was Tinashe Mpasiri, a member of the 1873 Network and the Director of Corporate Literacy under the Banking on G20.
You're with SAFM. It's 4:30. Time for news headlines.
Thank you, John. On the news headlines, President Cyril Ramaphosa says the decision by the U.S. Congress Committee on Foreign Affairs to approve the bill that is aimed at punishing South Africa still has to go through process before it can be the law. A KwaZulu-Natal pastor found guilty of raping young girls at Ngutu has been sentenced to 10 terms of life imprisonment and an additional 70 years. And rescuers have been struggling to reach the site of a plane crash in eastern Russia, which appears to have killed all 49 people on board. News agencies are reporting that the twin-engine propeller had suffered several previous malfunctions. A full update follows at the top of the hour with Greg Hoos.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the N1 southbound in Pretoria has a crash reported at Garsfontein Road. Golden Highway southbound in Lenasia is slow moving towards Nirvana Drive, and Summit Road westbound in Midrand has delays at Blue Hills. In KZN, South Coast Road is where truck congestion is reported in that Rosberg area, so expect delays, and the N3 eastbound in Ashburton, a stationary truck after Market Road. In Cape Town, Cromboom Road eastbound in Rondebosch East is slow moving towards Jan Smuts Drive, and Campground Road in Newlands slow moving between the Cricket Stadium and Main Road. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
This is SAFM Sports with Tuming Kapele.
Let's start things off with netball this hour, where baby Proteas centre Carla Victor says that she's excited to represent South Africa at the upcoming Netball Youth World Cup. This is after Netball South Africa confirmed the final 15-player squad to partake in the last phase of the preparations ahead of the World Cup 2025. And Victor says that the nerves she had have calmed down after seeing her name in the final list.
The stress and everything is done now that the squad is being announced. I think it's just a privilege and an honor representing our country in September for the World Cup. And I mean, it's such an honor. I mean, just a few players can be selected playing a World Cup, so it's really a dream come true.
Then on to football. Banyana forward Jermaine Sioposenwe says that she still stands by her decision to retire from international football. The 31-year-old announced ahead of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations that this tournament is her last, and it means that tomorrow's third place playoff against Ghana will mark her final appearance in the national colours. And Sioposenwe says that stepping away from the team has brought her a sense of peace.
I think there's a lot of aspects that I took into consideration when announcing my retirement, and none of those have changed, and so I absolutely don't think that I can be swayed. I think it's taken me a very long time to come to the decision, maybe over 2 years, and it was a difficult decision. I think just because I did it before AFCON, comes across as it was just an easy decision. It was not. But the factors that have basically made my decision for me have not changed. And so I don't think that I can be swayed to come out of retirement. I think at the end of the day, like I said, it's for my well-being. And
then on to rugby. Springbok women assistant coach Johannes Haupt says that the team is determined to assert dominance in their traditional strength, especially at the set piece when they face the Black Ferns 15 in Cape Town on Saturday. The test at Athlone Stadium marks the first of two international friendlies against the New Zealand visitors and forms a key part of South Africa's preparation for the 2025 Rugby World Cup in England. In athletics, middle distance runner Shanae Swart is going into tonight's 800-meter women's final as one of the favorites, a tag she is not shying away from. The 23-year-old is eyeing a gold medal at the FISU World University Games in Germany, and with her qualification time of 2 minutes and 1.68 seconds, she has every reason to be optimistic to achieve that feat.
I think the big idea, I knew I wanted to be top 2 and to get it as easy as possible. I messed up a bit around the second half. The bend to the 300. I think I messed up a bit there, but it won't happen in the final. So I'm happy, and the good things to come.
Then in tennis, Stefanos Tsitsipas has ended his collaboration with coach Goran Ivanisevic after less than 2 months. Tsitsipas ranked 29th, appointed Ivanisevic as his coach in May. This is after a string of disappointing results at the Grand Slams. The 2021 French Open and 2023 Australian Open runner-up was forced to retire from his Wimbledon first-round match in June, while trailing 6-3 and 6-2 to French qualifier Valentine Royer due to a back injury. I'll have more on other sports in the next hour.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
Chasing the Sun is a 5-part South African sport documentary series. An inspiring story of the 4-time World Rugby champions, the Springboks. The journey of winning the Rugby World Cup, a behind-the-scenes look of how the green and gold team overcame adversity, divisions, and doubt to become world champs. Be there when history shines. Tune into SABC2 on Sundays at 7:30 p.m. from 13 July to 10 August. Also available anytime, anywhere on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Spar brings you super savings.
Get 800-gram Nescafe Rare Coffee value refill for $119.99 plus 250 megs free data on Spar Mobile. 120-gram Simba potato chips, any two for 32 Rand plus 100 megs free data on Spar Mobile. Or 2-liter Coca-Cola Original only, 2 for 44 Rand plus 100 megs free data on Spar Mobile. Plus, win your share of 6 million Rand in instant cash. Prices valid until 6 August while stocks last. T's and C's apply.
SAFM music crafted to make you feel real good. Handpicked just for your pleasure. Classics sounding so good only on SAFM.
You with SAFM? I'll be playing some of that music this weekend. Looking forward to it. It's been a while since I played music on a Saturday and Sunday night, so join me there, 10 to midnight. Now, though, let's talk about markets, see what's happening on the markets with Meyiwa Masilela, Chief Investor. In fact, we're going to go to Meyiwa in just a moment. Let me tell you about Season 2. I'm looking forward to this. Season 2, and the stakes are even higher. South Africa's favourite stars are back at the briefcase, playing for charities close to home and close at heart. Big names, big hearts, big deals. Don't miss Deal or No Deal Celebrity South Africa. It's on Saturdays at 6 p.m. on SABC1. Mzansi for sure.
Economic news on SAFM. Facts and figures you can count on.
Now we're going to get an update on the markets. Meyiwa Masilela is Chief Investment Officer at Meyiwa Fund Managers. Meyiwa, I see that Anglo American have got their production update. What's happening?
Yeah, looking very well, John. Their portfolio simplification progressing well. So Anglo Platinum, which now is called Valterra Platinum, continuing with the disposal of nickel and steel-making coal businesses. Formal process for the sale of DPS is advancing. And the guys had a solid quarter in copper and iron ore, but the PGM production fell by 47%, and mainly due to the flooding at one of their mines. And the global energy transition is accelerating demand for copper, and that is the pace that outstrips even the most optimistic projections.
And what's been happening on the markets today?
Global equities continue their rally, though at a moderate pace, as bulls drew fresh conviction from signs the U.S. may strike more trade deals soon after clinching a pact with Japan. The de-escalation in global trade tensions had reassured investors, easing fears of a prolonged trade war and fueling gains across global markets. Traders are betting that Washington will adopt a pragmatic approach before tariffs meaningfully start impacting corporate profits. Trump said countries will face tariffs ranging from 15% to 50%. And after 7 straight cuts today, the European Central Bank left interest rates unchanged as tariff turmoil keeps policymakers on the edge. And remember, our interest rate decision is next Thursday, and so our consensus is that it will be a hold. Oil prices are rising, held by a sharp decline when it comes to U.S. crude stockpiles, as well as growing hopes over trade of more trade deals ahead of the Trump deadline. And remember, falling stockpiles is an indication of demand. Brent crude is up 1.5% at $69 a barrel. Yellow metal extended losses from the previous session as easing trade session and intentions increased risk sentiment and weight on demand for safe haven assets. Gold is down 0.5% at 3,370. Platinum is down 1.4% at 1,432. Global markets are mostly up for now. It's only the Dow and the JSE which are down, and the local pulse has been dragged down by the resources which are down 2%, and the rand is 0.3% weaker versus the dollar, now 17.60, 23.87 against the pound, and 20.74 against the euro.
Meyiwa Masilela, thank you very much, Chief Investment Officer at Meyiwa Fund Managers.
You are listening to John Gericka on SAFM.
Going to take your calls in a little bit, 086 000 2032, and get your WhatsApps in, voice notes on 0614 104 107. You can send a text as well on that WhatsApp number, 0614 104 107. Now, though, let's talk some politics locally. The EFF held a media briefing today ahead of the party's 12th anniversary celebrations that are going to be happening in Khayelitsha in Cape Town this weekend. EFF Commander-in-Chief Julius Malema addressed the media, talking about what to expect this weekend, but also touched on recent developments since that media briefing by KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Picked up a few highlights from the presser to share with you. Let's start with the first one, where Julius Malema says the party would like to remind you the EFF is not just a protest movement.
mark this milestone, we must remind our people and the media alike that the EFF is not just a protest movement. We are in government. We have provided clarity on key policy issues, from land expropriation without compensation to nationalizing the Reserve Bank, free decolonized education, to publicly funded healthcare and the establishment of a state-owned pharmaceutical company. These are not slogans, they are programs of actions which we continue to champion inside and outside state. The EFF has also shown the capacity to build structures, discipline and internal democracy. Our councillors, members of provincial legislatures, members of parliament and members of mayoral committees are subjected to regular performance assessments and community-based reporting mechanism. No other party in South Africa is as organizationally grounded and politically coherent as the EFF. The 12th anniversary will also be used to highlight the next side of our struggle: economic empowerment, sovereignty and state capacity. We must confront the neoliberal policies that continue to paralyze our economy, privatize public services and surrender decision-making to credit ratings agencies, international financial institutions and unelected consultants. The GNU has proven that it has no plan for economic growth outside of a budget cuts and outsourcing.
Malema says the EFF proposed the establishment of an ad hoc committee to investigate allegations made by KwaZulu-Natal Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi.
Revelations by Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi ought to have indicated to the ruling GNU that cutting allocations to law enforcement capacity is a recipe for disaster. It is for this reason that the EFF proposed the establishment of an ad hoc committee to investigate the allegations made by General Mkhwanazi, and we welcome that this progressive step has been adopted by the National Assembly. We will ensure that no capture of our institution will continue and expose all those involved with criminal syndicates and drug cartels at the highest level of policing. In this context, our presence in Khayelitsha is also a political statement that development must not be a privilege of Camps Bay or Stellenbosch, but must reach the forgotten corners of this country. There is no freedom while our people still share toilets with 5 other households, while mothers must walk kilometers for clean water, and while youth rot in poverty and crime because they are excluded from education and the economy. We therefore call on the people of the Western Cape, in particular those in Khayelitsha, Guguletu, Nyanga, Philippi, Delft and Bela, to come in their numbers, come and witness a political movement that does not fear the people. Come and be part of the festival of ideas, of music, cultural pride and political education. Come and hear your stories told, your pain acknowledged and your future defended. The EFF has never relied on friendly headlines or elite praises. We speak to the people and through them we shape the national conversation. Let this anniversary be a reminder that the most important voices in this country are not found in boardrooms, press clubs or social media influencers, but in the streets of the townships and the far-flung corners of our land.
Malema, they're talking about the police. He went on about the police, saying that there are factions within the South African Police Service.
There are factions in the police. You've got minister working with Khumalo and Masemon. No. Not Masemon, the other one who got Sevilla. No, it's Minister and Sevilla. Then you've got a National Commissioner working with Khumalo. So there is a power struggle there. Now, we are not interested in those things. We are interested in the truth. As to who belongs to what and what, we don't care. We want the truth to come out. What Mkhwanazi said must be repeated, backed by evidence in the ad hoc committee and in the commission of inquiry. It is now no longer an issue of just talking. Let everyone who has got an issue bring that matter before the committee, and I'm going to sit in that committee of ad hoc committee to investigate these allegations. And you know, where if I'm there will not be manga business, because I'm not scared of police or soldiers or anyone, including drug cartels or criminals. I'm not in the pocket of any thug in South Africa. That's why I live a free life.
Speaking of the police, Malema says there's a warrant of arrest for the Police National Commissioner, General Fani Mosamola.
There is a warrant of arrest against Masemola. It's out. I don't know why it's not being picked up. It means someone somewhere is playing politics, and someone they want to undermine once more the independence of our justice system. Masemola is being arrested for what he did with Khumalo in the crime intelligence. Masemola was supposed to be arrested that week when Mkhwanazi had a press conference. So I thought Mkhwanazi's press conference was a preemptive strategy. And perhaps the arrest for Masemola is delayed by that or will be seen as if we are fighting back or anything of that sort. So it's a matter we're paying a very close attention to, because we cannot allow any more people to abuse their positions. Once a warrant of arrest is issued, it means there is some sort of evidence.
And finally, Julius Malema also commented on Kenny Kunene being found at Katiso KT Molefe's home this week.
Kunene saying he was taking a journalist there. To take a journalist is not a secret operation. Who is that journalist? Who's that journalist? Why would you take a journalist to someone who just came out of prison, who's on bail, as an MMC? Now I'm very happy. You know, I dance even at night. Oh, things are looking good, Chef. We told you these things are criminals. They are nothing else but Mapantiti. He says he doesn't know that guy. He knows that guy. I know that guy. Not from a personal point of view. He's a well-known businessman. Until now, we knew him as a businessman. So, but I don't have a relationship with him like that, where I can call Patrice Motsepe or go to Patrice Motsepe's house or have tea at Patrice Motsepe's house, take my wife to Patrice Motsepe's house. Patrice Motsepe's wife knows my wife. I don't know the guy like that. But for Kenny to behave like that in public office and say he doesn't know that guy, that's a lie. It's a pure lie. And that's how thugs, 26, 28 gangs succeed. They lie. They think they can outsmart everyone. So, and they don't care whether you are convinced or not. They tell their story. It's done. But the Kenny's story is not coming together. The head of Hawks, Libya's story is not coming together.
EFF Commander-in-Chief Julius Malema there. What do you make of all of that? Give us a call, 086 000 2032. You can also send us a WhatsApp voice note, 0614 104 107. We'll take those in a bit.
What is Overtrail? Is it off the beaten path, over the edge of comfort, or the thrill of the road less taken? It's over every bridge, every obstacle, every trail, and over to that view that takes your breath away. Overtrail means going further, exploring deeper, surrounded by the comfort and sophistication of a luxury SUV. It's this spirit that inspired the Overtrail project. Experience Overtrail in the LX and GX range. Lexus. Experience amazing.
Get ready to brush up on your brightest smile with Dis-Chem's 2+1 cheapest free deals on dental care products. From the trusted Dental Mate to soothing Sensodyne, classic Colgate, and many more. Stock up on all your favorite brands. Get down to Dis-Chem today to enjoy 2+1 cheapest free on the widest range of manual toothbrushes, toothpastes, and mouthwashes. T's and C's apply. Hurry, dental offer ends 17 August, only at Dis-Chem. Better health starts here.
Zinzi, the Gen Z. Word on the street is you sold your car.
Yes, and you know I needed a glow up. Hashtag no hustle, no hassle.
So wait. The influencer got influenced by We Buy Cars.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And they came to me. They checked the car, they gave me an offer. Oh, and they paid me immediately. Easier than an Insta Live, without the weird DMs at 2 a.m.
I didn't understand half of the things you just said, but hey, We Buy Cars. Geared for the glow up, geared for you.
Breaking news. SARS has enhanced the personal income tax return form. It has simpler questions that adapt to your income and deductions based on your answers. Whether you're employed or self-employed, the digital form has built-in guidance and the option to save and finish later. Tax matters, so does your time. File with ease on e-filing or the SARS Mobi app today. Go to sars.gov.za. SARS, at your service.
You are listening to John Gerika on SFM.
Call us on 086 000 2032.
Take some calls. Kay in KwaZulu-Natal, go ahead. What do you have to say?
Hi, good evening, and to you and to all your listeners. It was lovely listening to Uju there. And the sad reality is all our political parties have become brilliant orators in presenting themselves to the public when it comes to the anniversary shows, and even when they have these stand-up in Parliament. The fact of the matter, none of them, not a single political party presently represented in the South African Parliament, has the interest of the poor, the downtrodden, and the promise made to us during the period of liberation. So to Juju, he is a parliamentarian and a leader of an opposition party. My question to him is, what has he done physically as a member of parliament to try and change the trajectory of what our country right now? We know that corruption is rampant. We know that he's also been implicated on few occasions, and members of his party. It's no use that they come with grandstanding, keep giving us these false promises, only to request and suggest that voting for them is the right thing. The sad reality is civil society in South Africa needs to stand up. We need to become more aggressively involved, aggressive not literally but figuratively, in terms of organizing ourselves into civic movements, that we can start holding government accountable. The simple old proverb is, if you don't earn it, you will never appreciate it. There's not a single parliamentarian, not a single politician, be it at any level of government, earns their salary. They get paid by taxpayers. Hence, when it comes to expenditure of taxpayers' money, starting right from the president to every single minister of theirs, they have no accountability.
All right.
In terms of the reliance they have on the auditors.
Okay, let me just interrupt you. You say that nobody's involved. We are seeing work done by political parties. I'm just thinking of Action SA in Pretoria. They seem to be doing things in Tshwane. DA say they're doing things in Cape Town. So are they not looking out for the people?
If you look at sporadic knee-jerk reaction, those are issues to try and enhance their base of support in a certain area. There's nothing happening in Western Cape other than what has happened a long time ago. Malema clearly mentions Khayelitsha. Khayelitsha is the same as it used to be. But then we should go to the history of Khayelitsha. Where did the people from Khayelitsha come from? The fact of the matter, being within the liberation movement since 1983, We know how movements took place in terms to influence a certain narrative when it came to elections and increase votes there. So Khayelitsha was developed with the interest of increasing voters' numbers for a political party. The sad reality is that that political party absconded and left those people destitute. It's easy for Malema to say, when you look at Khayelitsha, it is not the neoliberals that speak for them. But why doesn't he take a step back? You see, we always fail to address history.
All right, Kay, we need to move on, but thank you very much, Kay, with the strong views on politicians. Let's go to Becky in Mpumalanga. You also want to talk about Julius Malema, Becky?
Thank you very much. I have got a different view with the previous caller with regards to Julius Malema. I'll tell you, I've got special respect for Julius Malema. I've got special respect for Mbuyiseni Ndlozi. I've got special respect for he's an MEC for it's the young MEC. I've just forgotten his name now, but it will come back. I'll tell you why. These are people who have joined the struggle at a very young age and they've survived all kinds of weather. When you look at the history where we come from, and you look at them, how they flourished in the political spectrum and the influence that they command, I will tell you that when you see Julius Malema being in a box, or speaking about a box and stuff, and in a witness box or in an accused box in court, you'll understand that he was well prepared politically to deal with issues that has got to do with politics.
Okay, hold on. So you respect them because of their career, whereas Kane KwaZulu-Natal wasn't respecting them because they haven't done anything for the people. So do you feel, Becky, that the career of a politician is not necessarily, and this was Kay's issue, helping people on the ground?
I was going to say that not only for their career, but for their contribution that they've made to South Africans in terms of the politics. We can have our different views. If you remember very well what Nelson Mandela has said, he said we don't care about models. We don't care if the cat is black and white or white, only if it can catch mice. I am speaking about members of ESF. I'm speaking about members of the ANC. That I am talking about here. I'm talking about anti-apartheid fighters who have fought apartheid to the hills and who are still fighting right now as we're speaking. One will speak the way they want because they pretend as if they don't know where we come from. But for those of us who have lived our life through at the times of apartheid, we've got different views of what people are saying about the politicians of this country.
All right, Becky and Mpumalanga, differing views. That's why we love taking calls, because you get two different views, two different people. What do you make of all of that? We'll take calls later on in the program as well. The numbers, in case you don't know them, 086 000 2032. WhatsApp 0614 104 107. It's 5 o'clock. Greg Host has your news.
Thank you, John. Good to be with you again. In this news update, Ramaphosa speaks on U.S. bill against South Africa and rescuers try and reach site of Russian plane crash. Good day to you. President Cyril Ramaphosa says the decision by the U.S. House of Representatives Committee on Foreign Affairs to approve a bill aimed at punishing South Africa still has to go through a process before it becomes law. Authored and introduced by a Republican congressman in April, the U.S.-South Africa Bilateral Relations Review Act is viewed as part of efforts to provide President Donald Trump with the tools necessary to impose sanctions on South African officials in government and the ANC in particular, who choose to support U.S. adversaries like China, Russia and Iran. President Ramaphosa says South Africa will continue to engage with the U.S.
We've heard about what has happened in a House committee, and that whole process still has a long way to go, and discussions will be ongoing, and we don't know exactly what is driving all this, and our bilateral dealings and engagements with the United States will continue.
Only one of the three properties making up the Gupta compound in Saxonwold in Johannesburg have been sold for R3.3 million at auction today. The sale marks the end of a 7-year legal battle involving business rescue proceedings and unpaid municipal rates. The mansions, once at the centre of the state capture era, have stood vacant since 2018 when the Gupta brothers fled the country amid mounting allegations of corruption. The combined municipal value of the three properties sits at more than R64 million. Auction facilitator Graham van Niekerk.
We didn't really expect fireworks, as it were. So we have had no interest on the auction regarding those two properties, but they certainly, when we go back to the business rescue practitioner, we will have a plan to dispose of these properties. We've had some interest from people not necessarily wanting to take part in an auction process due to the nature of the properties as well as the stigma attached to the properties. So there is a plan B, and we will in time execute that.
A KwaZulu-Natal pastor found guilty of raping young girls has been sentenced to 10 terms of life imprisonment and an additional 70 years. Mandalisa Mabale faced charges of raping children, sexual assault and for exposing children to pornography. He was arrested in 2022. The court heard that 4 children confessed to their mothers that the pastor was raping them. Mabale pleaded not guilty to the charges. Police spokesperson Tenjiso Ngobo.
The children frequented the place of the pastor and will spend a considerable amount of time in his company. The children will also assist him when he was doing his odd jobs of fixing electrical appliances. Investigation into the matter ensued with the urgency it deserved. Investigations uncovered that Mabale had raped at least 10 children. The victims, who are all minors, informed police detectives that the pastor would lure them to his rented room at Ndidini area, where he would make them watch pornographic material and then rape them.
Police have managed to reopen a blocked road and traffic is flowing near Sipisong, west of Johannesburg, following a community protest. Residents blocked the road with rocks after being without power for a week. Community leader Messiah Nemkula.
We have the whole week without electricity and they don't say anything to us. They just keep on promising. Now they change, they'll keep on changing the date. Right now they told us about they're going to fix this thing around 5 October. We said, no, how can you say about Monday? They told us about Monday, last week Monday. This week, it was this week, yeah. This week Monday, they never do anything. So they changed. Okay, they said they can't come over to Tepisong because Tepisong is very dangerous.
The Machabeng local municipality in Welkom in the Free State says normal water supply is anticipated to be restored by tomorrow following winter maintenance. The municipality says Vaal Central Water had to stop pumping operations due to challenges experienced during the line filling process. Recovery efforts are currently in progress to resolve the matter. Rescuers have been struggling to reach the site of a plane crash in eastern Russia, which appears to have killed all people on board. The BBC's Paul Moss has more.
The plane had already tried once to land at Tinda Airport close to Russia's border with China. It was then making a second approach when it came down in a heavily forested area of mountainside. The Russian news agency TASS is reporting that the twin-engine Antonov was nearly 50 years old and that it had damaged its wing during an earlier accident. Also, that the plane's radio and generator had previously malfunctioned. Sanctions have meant that Russia is struggling to replace its aging fleet of passenger planes and can't get badly needed spare parts.
There are reports that there were 49 people on board that plane. Well, the top story this hour, President Ramaphosa says the decision by the U.S. House of Representatives Committee on Foreign Affairs to approve a bill aimed at punishing South Africa still has to go through a process before it becomes law. That's SAFM News. I'm Greg Hoos.
And coming up in this hour, Orlando Pirates are in the spotlight this hour as we talk pre-season prep, and also they unveiled their jersey this morning, so we're going to see how that jersey looks.
A little surprise for us today.
Yeah.
Are you going to tell us what the surprise is, or is it a surprise?
We will be talking to Orlando Pirates. One player is coming in studio.
Are they dressed up in their nines?
Of course.
You're going to talk to them?
Yes.
Okay.
And we're going to find out, with a new kit.
And can they beat Sundowns? That's really the discussion.
That's the big question.
Do you start with that question?
I think we should.
End with that question?
I think we should. We're going to start with that question.
Question 1.
Can you beat Sundowns?
And they'll either be really sad and it'll be a terrible interview after that, or they'll be really happy and go,
Listen, it's going to be my first question, John. And I'm going to be like, this is courtesy of John.
No,
and it's a very important question.
I look forward to that. What's that? 1:30?
1:30.
All right, look forward to that.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the N1 southbound in Midrand has a crash reported at Buccleuch interchange. The N3 southbound in Germiston queuing towards Geldenhuys interchange, and Witkoppen Road westbound in Magaliesburg slow moving towards Main Road. In KZN, the N2 southbound has a stationary vehicle reported after Inanda Road, the N3 eastbound a stationary truck before Key Ridge, and Mgeni Road westbound slow moving through Springfield Park. In Cape Town, Baden-Powell Drive eastbound queuing at Strandfontein Road, Main Road northbound is slow moving through Cork Bay, and Mike Pinard Boulevard northbound in Belleville queuing towards the N1 highway. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
Stay safe on the roads. SAFM is with you.
My name is Casey Gordon. I'm the Banyana goalkeeper. My favorite music is all over the place. I love listening to all kinds of things, but I'd have to say maybe pop culture. My favorite pet is my cat. I love cats. They're so cute. My cat's name is Bailey. My favorite dish is pizza. Obviously, it's not a great dish as an athlete, but I love pizza. When I'm not playing football, I love to be with my friends and my family, and I love playing netball as well.
Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, the 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC.
SAFM, in collaboration with the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz, brings you the Jazz for Young People concert happening at the National School of the Arts on the 26th of July 2025. Tune in to Seasons and the Soundtrack of Your Life, broadcasting live. This unique event is a powerful celebration of youth, creativity, and community spirit. Bring the whole family to enjoy a wonderful day of world-class jazz from young musicians, curated by Zoe Mudicha, featuring National School of the Arts Band, Willow Crescent Magnet School of Music Band, Biko's Manor, and many others. Have fun while doing good. Tickets are available at Quicket for just 80 Rand and 50 Rand for kids under 12. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. You are listening to John Gericka on SAFM.
5:10. You heard in the news. We're going to talk about this Liberation Movement Summit in a moment. But listening to the news, and SABC News are covering this as well, the sale of one of the Gupta's mansions for 3.3 million Rand. I think whoever bought that got it quite cheaply. Up in Houghton, 3.3 million. But the visuals show that it's still furnished, that there's still furniture inside. And I was thinking, and we were talking about it here in the studios, would you sleep in the bed at the Gupta's compound? Would you keep the furniture as it was? I don't know, turn it into a museum almost. Or would you say, all right, I'm going to sell all the furniture and we'll start from afresh in my new 3.3 million Rand mansion? I don't know. I don't think I could keep it. I don't think I could sleep in the same bed. But yeah, what do you make of that? Something completely different. You were there, SAFM, 5:11. Earlier on today, we spoke to the ANC about the Liberation Movement Summit 2025. It's convened under the theme Defending the Liberation Gains, Advancing Integrated Socioeconomic Development, Strengthening Solidarity for a Better Africa. It starts tomorrow at the Radisson Hotel and Convention Centre in OR Tambo. Dr. Sikelelo Breakfast is a political analyst from the Nelson Mandela University. Talk about this a little more. Dr. Breakfast, good chatting to you again. Thanks very much. When I spoke to the ANC, they were saying it's not just an outward looking. They're going to look inwards and look inwards quite seriously. What do you make of what the plans are for this summit?
Well, the political lifespan or the political longevity of liberation movements, it tends to be affected by institutionalization of corruption. And if you look at liberation movements, I mean, the ones that are still around, actually, this is quite interesting. They are found at SADC in the main, like Frelimo, SWAPO, ZANU-PF, and the ANC. Now, interestingly, those ones, they are support-based. It has actually shrunk. It has shrunk too much to the extent that I think now they are worried about being dislodged completely from the helm of power. I mean, I'm not sure if Frelimo won those elections. SWAPO, they won by a very low margin. The ANC at the moment is sitting at 40%, and maybe or maybe not, that percentage might shrink. So liberation movements are in trouble. And we saw what had happened when there was information intercepted that ZANU-PF was trying to meddle with our elections, because they know. So ZANU-PF is well aware that if all the liberation movements can be done away with via electoral means, they are also next.
Are there still places for what is called liberation movements, and I'm putting that into inverted commas, in 2025? Is this just not a looking back at how cool we were 30 years ago?
Yeah. Well, they would look, even the idea of a liberation movement, because some people say there are no liberation movements, because you can't, some people argue, you cannot be a liberation movement while in government, because a liberation movement is a party that was in the trenches. So once you come into power via electoral means, you're no longer a liberation movement, you are a governing party. But because liberation movements, they like to ride on this horse of liberation struggle, because I don't think people benefit out of these liberation movements. Actually, I don't think that people vote for liberation movements because of their good track record. They are voted into power because of collective memory. So to answer your question, I mean, there's a debate whether do we still have liberation movements or not. But liberation movements themselves, they sort of like to use this concept of liberation movements because they benefit out of that political capital.
There is still the global north versus the global south. There's the economic strain that's coming from that. We're seeing what's happening with Donald Trump and the rest of the world as well. Is that the liberation struggle that is currently being fought?
Yes. Even though that is on a large scale. I'm not saying that domestic issues are not linked to the world order. But yeah, I mean, I understand that you're talking about now unevenness in terms of power dynamics between the global north and the global south, in terms of the resources which are exploited, the raw natural resources from post-colonial states, and how the global north appropriates them in a way that is unfair.
Okay, let's talk about some of the objectives that they're hoping to get at this summit. Strengthening solidarity, promoting unity, advancing socioeconomic development, addressing contemporary challenges, building international alliances, enhancing visibility and capacity. Doc, this sounds like what a government should be doing every day.
Of course, but again, you must remember, these liberation movements, they don't want to be ousted out of power. And because they have a same line of thinking. Therefore, they think that there is a common a denominator amongst them. I think that's why they try to converge. And the ANC, it's actually quite interesting that the ANC is the one that is hosting them, because I think the stakes are very high for the ANC. I don't want to play the cart before the horse, but I think there are two possibilities. It's either those numbers of the ANC, they go up or they come down.
There are ambassadors that are going to be there. Do we read anything into the fact that China is going to be there, Iran, Palestine, Russian Federation, Nicaragua, Swahili Arab Democratic Republic, or Western Sahara? They've been invited. Do we read anything into that?
Yes, I think it's quite clear. They might be there. In fact, I don't want to be too specific, but I think, yes, they will be there because
they were invited.
Yes, because those are long-standing strategic allies of liberation movements. I mean, this is an open a secret that these liberation movements, during the liberation struggle, they were funded by the Soviet Union, China, the list is endless. So that's why they will be there. But yeah, I don't want to be everywhere, because what happened yesterday. There was a story that broke that the U.S. is planning to impose sanctions on the ANC leaders. So is this not going to consolidate then that thinking of the U.S.? Because the thinking of Trump, as you know, is that BRICS and all these blocks formations, they are posing a threat to the hegemony of the U.S. Actually, he says they were established to pose a threat to the dominance of the U.S., and he sees them as, as a threat.
Are these movements able to look internally, as the ANC spokesperson was saying? I asked her that same question. There's going to be some tough questions asked amongst themselves, especially at the beginning of the show. I was talking about ZANU-PF wanting to censor citizens and send them to jail for criticizing the country.
Yeah, I think you're being fair and square there. That's a good question. My issue is that these liberation movements, they say all sorts of things. They say all the right things. So it's normally all talk and no action. They only say these good things in theory, but not in practice. Otherwise, we won't be having challenges even in our own backyard. So sometimes people, these discourses, they are pitched at a theoretical level. They're not reduced into practice.
Yeah, I asked them that question as well. Will delegates then go back to their organizations in their respective countries and make a change?
My reading of this is that there seems to be a lack of political will. There is no enough commitment, in particular, to wage a war on corruption and underdevelopment. I don't see that. I just see people who are using the state organs to amass wealth for personal reasons.
Keep a close eye on that summit then. Dr. Ntsikelelo Breakfast, thank you very much. Political analyst from the Nelson Mandela University.
Hey, want to check your TV license balance conveniently? Look no further. Our SMS service allows you to do just that. By sending a message containing your ID or TV license number to 44210, you can quickly access your balance without needing multiple inquiries or waiting on hold. Plus, standard SMS rates apply. Take advantage of this efficient method to stay informed and streamline your payment process today. T's and C's apply.
When they walk on the pitch, both teams will believe they will triumph, but reality kicks in during 90 minutes of action. Who will dance to victory between UJ ladies and First Touch ladies? This is the Hollywood Bet Super League. Witness Mzansi Queens of the beautiful game. UJ ladies versus First Touch ladies on Sunday 27 July at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC1 and at your fingertips on SABC+. Also available on SABC radio stations at 3 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
You are listening to SFM Radio this Mandela Month.
It is in your hands now.
Despite defeats in the semi-finals, the Black Queens and Banyana demonstrated real character. They are now hunting for the bronze medallion and the third place finish. This is the Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2024. Catch the meeting between the West and the South. Ghana tackles South Africa this Friday, 25 July at 5:30 p.m. Streaming live on SABC Plus, SABC 3 and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available on SABC radio stations at 6 p.m. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
You're listening to the National Pulse.
Don Gerika on SAFM.
Hoping to have a positive conversation in a moment with the Principal and Vice Chancellor of the Northwest University. You might remember Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi announced that there are plans in place to add to the country's 10 academic hospitals. And the Vice Chancellor of the Northwest University says that, well, we've got the Desmond Tutu School of Medicine that's going to be opening very, very soon. And what would really go well with that would be an academic hospital. So we'll try and get to the Principal and Vice Chancellor on the line in just a moment. We will be taking your calls. We'll be taking your WhatsApp voice notes as well. Get those in. You can start calling now already, 086 000 2032, and you can WhatsApp 0614 104 107. Let's talk to the Principal and Vice Chancellor of the Northwest University, Professor Mzubanzi Bismarck Tyobeka, welcoming this announcement that another academic hospital might be built. And you're saying, Professor, that you would like it and it'll fit in nicely with your new School of Medicine.
Yes, John. Thank you very much for having me, and good afternoon to your listeners. Indeed, as you would have seen in the article, we are at the construction phase of our new Desmond Tutu School of Medicine at the Northwest University. Now, as you would know, for a School of Medicine to function effectively and to be granted the requisite accreditations, it needs to be attached to an academic hospital. Now, in the province, we have the Klerksdorp-Tshepong complex in Klerksdorp, which is not necessarily an academic hospital, but a tertiary hospital which is supporting universities in Gauteng, in particular Wits Medical School. We're hoping for that to be upgraded immediately to an academic hospital when we start operating the medical school. So that one is a done deal. However, our province is very vast. The Northwest province is very vast. You have one end closer to the border of the Northern Cape where there is no academic hospital, and another end closer to Mpumalanga, closer to Limpopo. So we can't really spread our footprint of the medical school if we can't have another hospital. So we really welcome this announcement by Minister Motsoaledi that they are going to have one hospital here. We're hoping, as I said in my article, that it would be closer to Mahikeng, which is where our other campus is. That would give the opportunity for our Mahikeng students easy access to the medical school, spreading the footprint of our medical school across the province.
Tell me about this new Desmond Tutu School of Medicine. How many doctors will you be teaching, and when will all that be beginning?
So the Desmond Tutu School of Medicine has been a long dream coming from Northwest University. It started as way back as 2004 after the merger, and has always been plagued by delays in getting it really up and running in terms of getting the requisite approvals. But it started gaining serious momentum in 2017, and the Northwest University Council began to drive it directly and said, we realize this is a very strategic project, and therefore maybe council itself, not management, must drive this. And this is what really gave it a very good push. From the times when Minister Motsoaledi was the minister, and then Minister Mkhize, and we got a good boost when Minister Pasha became the minister, and he gave us this final permission in 2023, December 2023. So it will start off with the preclinical training platform taking place at our Northwest University Potchefstroom campus in Potchefstroom, and the clinical platform, that means year 4, 5, 6, taking place at the Klerksdorp Tsepong Hospital in Klerksdorp. And the first intake, it would be 80 medical students, and that will be January 2028 when they start setting foot on in the brand new facility that we are currently constructing here in Potchefstroom. We will progressively grow this number up to 120 students when we are at the peak of our running. Now, why 120 when the country is in dire need of doctors? Because, and it ties back to the subject of this interview, because when you train doctors, the limit of the medicine students that you're training is determined by the space of the ward, the teaching ward at the hospital where they will be training. So if we only have Klerksdorp Tsepong, we will have to then, stagnate at 120 peak intake of students. But if this dream, and we believe it will happen, the dream of expanding the number of academic hospitals in the province happens as per the minister's budget voting 2 days ago, then we will be able to train up to 300 students per year, medical students. I've just returned from Brazil just a month ago, and I was astounded to find out that in fact Brazil graduates per year 45,000 medical school graduates. 45,000. And I asked them, what do you do with this? They said, no, they are absorbed by the private hospitals in the country mostly, but also the neighboring states in South America, Peru and other, Uruguay, Paraguay. So we are actually at the risk in the country of a brain drain when it comes to doctors. And if we don't up our production of medical professionals, especially the specialists, then the country is at a serious peril.
This is a very long process. When will you get some sort of comment from where these academic hospitals could be built?
Well, that is the decision and the responsibility of the National Department of Health. But the minister in his speech said this is at preliminary stages. Now, when you start a project like this, you expect that within the first 15 months of the preliminary planning stages, you should immediately state location, because a number of other things during your planning would then be impacted by the geolocation of the project itself. So we hope to hear within a year where exactly this hospital would be. Because by putting it in a budget vote, it means government is beginning to make provision in terms of resources for this hospital. So we should know before the next budget vote, which is next year, we should know where exactly it will be. And we hope, again, I repeat, it will be in the Nakamudire Mulema district, which is around the Mahikeng area.
Mahikeng, right there. Is Mahikeng still the capital of the Northwest? It is, right?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. You see, it makes sense to put it there then. It's still, as you
Makes
say,
sense indeed. Yes.
it's a large province. Thank you very much, Professor Mzubanzi Bismarck Jobeka, Principal and Vice Chancellor of the Northwest University. Will those hospitals being built? Only 28 students coming out from the Desmond Tutu School of Medicine because there just isn't space for doctors. We have a shortage of doctors still as well. You're with SAFM. I want to make a move. I'll be back for listener interaction, as we call it, because we're going to take your calls and voice notes. But Orlando Pirates, are they here?
Yeah, they're still making their way in.
So I'm going to get out the way so that you can talk to your Orlando Pirates people. Tumi's going to sport in a moment. Let's get headlines first with Greg Khosa.
We'll kick off with headlines. The EFF says Parliament needs to complete its investigations into the allegations made by the KZN Police Commissioner within the stipulated 90 days. President Ramaphosa says the decision by the US House of Representatives to approve a bill aimed at punishing South Africa still has to go through a process before it becomes law. And Zimbabwe's assumed the presidency of the Conference of the Contracting Parties to the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands. A full update at the top of the hour.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the N12 westbound queuing towards the N1 Diepkloof interchange, the M1 southbound queuing towards Boysons, and Paul Kruger Street northbound in Pretoria queuing towards Lavender Road. In KZN, the N2 northbound in Isipingo queuing near Joyner Road. The N3 eastbound in Ashburton has a stationary vehicle reported after Market Road. In Cape Town, the N1 Service Road outbound slow moving towards the N7 highway exit. Plattekloof Road eastbound in Tableview is where stationary truck is reported before the N7 highway, and Voortrekker Road in Goodwood has heavy traffic reported at the N7 Jakes Hadwell Drive junction. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
This is SAFM Sports with Tuming Kapele.
Tumi,
Yes.
where are your people?
They're still coming in.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know that Sundowns would have been here already. They would have scored 3
I know,
goals.
right?
I'm just saying.
Are you a Sundowns fan?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm actually a Pirates fan.
Are you?
I've got one kit. I got one kit, and it's a Pirates kit.
Really?
Yeah. Because they're the same color as the Sharks, black and white. It's what it is. What matters is the color of the kit.
Interesting. But we're going to talk to them in a short while. But for now, though, Proteas men's head coach Shukri Conrad has named full-strength squads. This is for the upcoming white ball tour against Australia. Batters Deval Brevis and Luandre Pretorius have been included, and having rested several regulars for the Tri-Series tournament in Zimbabwe this month. That included New Zealand. The Proteas have recalled Aiden Markram, Kagiso Rabada, Ryan Rickleton and Tristan Stubbs. Now Marco Jansen misses out on the tour through injury, and Markram will captain the T20 side, and Themba Bavuma will lead the one-day team. In football, Jermaine Seoposengwe says that she still stands by her decision to retire from international football. The 31-year-old announced ahead of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations that this tournament is her last. This means that tomorrow's third-place layoff against Ghana will mark her final appearance in national colours. Seoposengwe says stepping away from the team has brought her a sense of peace. Meanwhile, Marcus Rashford says that he is looking forward to working with Lamine Yamal at Barcelona, a player that he considers to be one of the best in the world. Now, Barca announced Rashford as their latest signing in a season-long loan, which includes an option to buy worth £26 million. Now, Barca are reportedly paying him £300,000 per week in wages. In rugby, Owen Farrell was named on the bench as the British and Irish Lions made 7 changes. This is to their match day 23 for the second test against Australia at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Prop Andrew Potter and centre Bandi Aki all come into the starting side in place of the likes of Ellis Genke and Joe McCarthy. Then, despite running a personal best in the women's 400-meter hurdles heat at the FISU World University Games, medal hopeful Hannah van Niekerk could adjust her approach to push for gold. Now, van Niekerk powered through the semi-finals with a strong finish of 56.16 on the clock, and is going to be in lane 4 tonight. And she basically says that she's all set and very confident for tonight. It's a wrap for now. I'll be back again, and the next time you'll be hearing the voices of some of those from Orlando Pirates.
Economic news on SAFM. Facts and figures you can count on.
More sport coming up in a moment. Let's talk business quickly. Dudu Ramela is with the business news with MoneyWeb coming up a little bit later on. What's going on in the markets? What do you got on the program today, Dudu?
Hello, John. Thank you very much for that. So, as usual, we'll have our markets watcher, and we'll be speaking to Nellis Brink in terms of how markets performed today. We're also going to be asking a couple of questions when it comes to that Microsoft hack, right, that data breach. And as more details are unfolding, it would appear that National Treasury has been compromised. Roy Alves is the sales manager at J2. He'll help us answer some of those questions. And we're navigating the challenges of renewable asset valuations with Willem de Tooy. He is Senior Vice President of Advisory and Investment Banking at Standard Bank. Renergen has gotten conditional approval from the Competition Commission of South Africa for SP takeover deal. Stefano Marani is the CEO of Renergen. He's going to be talking to us about that deal and what it entails. The details he is able to share at least. And South African Breweries has renewed its partnership with Saru for the next 5 years. Thomas Lawrence is the Marketing Director at Casalaga. He's going to be speaking to us more about that. And art meets candy with an East Rand Candy Company, where Sugarworks meets creativity with Mohammed Dokrat. He's the founder of Yimi's Custom Made Candy. He's our small business feature this Wednesday. But to take a look at how the market's fared so far, we are joined by Henku Kriel. He is MoneyWeb's contributor and he's standing by. Henku, to give us a sense of whether we're in the green or the red. How are you doing today?
Hello, Dudu. I'm very well, thank you. And a good evening to you and to all of our listeners. Yesterday was a historic day for the JSE locally, but let's have a quick glance at what's going on overseas. In the US, the Dow Jones currently 0.3% weaker, but the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, both of those, now 0.4% stronger. And then in Europe, they sort of closed the day mixed, with the FTSE 100 very strong, 1.1% up today. The DAX 0.1% stronger, and then the CAC 40 there in France decided to finish and close the day off 0.5% weaker. And then you must expect that everything that goes up must come down. And yesterday, historic day for the JSE's All-Share Index, breaking through 100,000 points and now cooling down a little bit after all of that excitement and finishing 0.2% weaker today and falling back to a level of 99,971 points. The industrial index gained 0.3% today and the financial index 0.2%, but the resources index slipped quite a bit today and lost 2%. A couple of companies that did really well today. Sasol, 3.5% stronger, followed by Aspen and Sappi. They each gained 3%, and also MTN, another very large company on our JSE, the British American Tobacco, or BATS, finishing 2% up. Some of the losers today, Harmony, 5.1% weaker. Also DRD Gold and Goldfields, they each lost 3.2%. And then other mining companies like Tungela and Exxaro, they each finished 2% weaker. Let's have a look at how the rand is doing. Currently trading at 17 rand 62 to the US dollar, 20 rand 72 to the euro, 11 rand 63 to the Australian dollar, and a British pound now trading at 23 rand and 84 cents. And the commodities, gold price now $3,373 an ounce, silver $39. The price of platinum is $1,411, and palladium just behind it, now trading at $1,300 an ounce. Brent crude is trading at $69.40 a barrel. And Dudu, I'll finish off with the price of a Bitcoin, which is now trading at $119,300, and that is also in rand terms 2,112,000. Dudu, that's how the markets performed.
Henku Kriel, thank you very much for that contribution. And that's where we come to an end for now. At least we'll be back at 6 p.m. with the SFM market update with MoneyWeb. It's back to you, John.
You're with SAFM, 20 minutes to 6 o'clock. We're going to hear from Orlando Pirates in just a moment. And if they're not here, then are they here yet? They're on their way. We will be taking some voice notes and calls as well.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
Lawang Ramalepe right back. What lightens up my mood is music, R&B, sometimes it's Lokompo, sometimes reggae. I was good in athletics. I used to run the 800 meters. Me as a president, hey, what I would change? Unemployment and fixing the economy. To all our fans, you can watch the game on SABC Sport. We are the African champions. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects.
Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
The soundtrack of your life with Ernest Pillay.
They were more than just songs. They were the backdrop to your best days and the ones that change everything. The soundtrack of your life with me, Ernest Pillay, brings you iconic classics and hidden gems that spoke to your heart then and still do now. Whether you're driving, relaxing, or just remembering, let the music take you right back. The soundtrack of your life with Ernest Pillay. It's about your past, your story, and it's all right here on your favorite station, Saturdays and Sundays, 1 to 4 p.m.
This is SAFM. Call us on 086 000 2032.
Let's take some voice notes, see what you have to say about many of the topics that have been coming through today. And you can get a hold of us on 0614 104 107.
Hi, John. My name is Les Sidima. The problem of Zimbabwe also influenced by Thabo Mbeki during his time when he was the president here in South Africa. He applied quiet diplomacy instead to talk and to make sanction against Robert Mugabe, who was expropriating the land and taking the farms from the white farmers and killed them. So as a result, this is the consequences, just because the European Union and the G8 countries or Western countries, they want Thabo Mbeki, but he keep quiet. And that quiet diplomacy is a consequence of today, where the Zimbabwean are starving and coming here in South Africa in large numbers. Thank you.
Let's go to Mandla in Peter Maritzburg. You want to talk about the Rwandan president. What's happening, Mandla?
No, man, John. My take is just to check, man. There were a report on social media that Paul Kagame died. But it's almost 4 weeks now. We haven't heard anything from the official report from Kigali on whether that has happened or not. Actually, I wanted to check earlier the time of Sipho Mantula when he was with Utula Sizo, but I couldn't get through.
I've just done a quick
I
check.
wonder if you can make a follow-up on that.
Let me check. It's been false. There's a website called PesaCheck, PESACheck.org. They're saying the president. Sorry, I've just pressed the wrong button. The president appeared in public days after the death claims began circulating online. The post on X claiming that he died is false. Rwandans remain in the dark, it says. An image of Kagame accompanies the post. The claim has been shared in many, many places. But on the 24th of June, he was filmed together with former Nigerian President Obasanjo days after the death claims emerged online. So he's fine.
Oh, okay.
All right.
No,
problem solved.
I never got that report. No, thanks, John.
All right. Mandla in Maritzburg, checking with the facts.
Peter Maritzburg.
In Peter Maritzburg,
thanks, brother.
Thank you very much. Making sure the facts.
Sure.
I like it.
Okay.
It's 5:45. You're with SAFM. Let's take some more voice notes.
Good afternoon, John. Good afternoon, SAFL. John, can you just clarify this thing of Kenny Kunene? I thought Kenny said he knows the guy, not in a personal level. They've got no personal connection. He met him in a party somewhere. He was with his friends in his corner, and the guy was with his friends in another corner. He never said he doesn't know him. Did he say he doesn't know him, or did he say he doesn't know him on a personal level? Can you clarify that?
Hold on. Before we get to the next note, can we pause that? He said he didn't know him on a personal level, but you've seen that photograph come out where Kenny Kunene is with him at a braai. And they are holding each other. They're not holding each other. They are standing really, really close to each other at a braai with Gator McKenzie in that photograph as well. So they definitely knew each other, and they would, according to that picture. Of course, he could have just been somewhere else and he was pulled in. A picture also paints 1,000 words. But yeah, I can't clarify it because we haven't heard it from the horse's mouth. But there is that picture making the rounds on social media that makes them look like they know each other better than just acquaintances.
I think I sent a voice note yesterday regarding Kenny Kunene. I did said Kenny Kunene is a liar. Kenny Kunene is a liar, is lying to the people of South Africa, is lying to the people who voted his party. I think all these politicians are a bunch of liars. Proven so. King Bless is my name. Thank you.
St. Julius Malema, from heaven, an angel, or from down under,
I still remember On Point in Limpopo. Where was the bridge, Julius, you were supposed to build? Are the African children still swimming across that river? What happened to all the money that disappeared? Whose house are you living in? It's not an illegal baron of a illegal cigarette cartel, is it? You must have so much against the ANC that you can blackmail them, because nothing ever happens to you. And one other thing, Julius, if you were in power and you took all the land, people wouldn't even own an RDP house. They'd all be on the streets. Finished.
Good afternoon, John. Sean here from a chilly Centurion with the mysterious heavens flows. I'm listening to Mr. Malema here, and it's quite rich coming from him, because he's one of those corrupt political cogs in our political system that has caused people to still have to walk to school, that has caused people not having access to basic education and health. It's kind of upsetting when you have someone like that trying to play self-righteous, when you often have him or his cronies in scandals like the VBS Bank and all the rest. Why doesn't he take up some money and join the fight against corruption instead of blaming it on colonialism and all the rest all the time? Anyway, thanks for a fantastic show.
Good afternoon, John. John, as for Malema, he's lying to us when he says he's not scared of anybody or anything. He's lying because wherever he goes with security. They are all surrounding him. But now, the reason that he says he's not scared of anybody, why is he moving around with security? Armed people around him. He's lying, man. He's scared. Thank you.
Let's go to Mandla in Pietermaritzburg. You want to talk correction? Are we going to? Tata in Cape Town. Tata, what do you have to say?
Ashraf, how are you?
It's John, but go ahead.
Oh, John, sorry, man.
No worries.
Sorry. John, it's not normal to hear your voice.
Just filling in for the day, yeah.
John, there's two callers who just called now. One is the lady that called with hatred for Julius Malema. I wonder why. Does he create a situation of discomfort to old white people that somebody is fighting for equality of everybody in South Africa? Does he have to refer to things that are not even existing? Because if Julius Malema would have been guilty of anything, he would have been in prison now. Is he going to be every time mongering on things that were unfounded just to make his soul feel okay? I mean, it's astonishing, because somebody is fighting for equality. Then that becomes a problem. And the person becomes a persona non grata in the country for other people of certain skin color. It is astonishing.
All right. Tata in Cape Town disagreeing with that caller, or two callers a little bit earlier. You're with SAFM. I'm John Kerrick. You know what I'm thinking I'm going to do? Is I'm just going to hand the show over to Tumi, because she's got the Orlando Pirates guests. You ready, Tumi? You're going to take over the show. The last 10 minutes are just yours.
I'm here.
Okay. I'm going to go and hand the show. It's been a pleasure to be with you. Thank you very much to the team for putting the show together. Tumi has some sport for you to take you through to the news at 6 o'clock. So have yourself a lekker.
For a change, you're going home earlier than me.
No, yeah, because you normally duck it off past, right? Yeah, cool. Enjoy your Pirates. And we're going to take a quick ad break, and then we'll hear from Orlando Pirates and Tumi.
Have you recently migrated to the new TV licenses payment website? Make sure your account stays active by registering again or resetting your password. Don't miss out on all the fantastic new features our brand new website offers. Get registered today and stay connected with us. With the new website, get your payments done quickly and hassle-free with a wide range of services. So make sure you register to take advantage of all the great client features. Visit www.tvlic.co.za today. TV licenses. Do it for the things that matter.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply. Hear the rhythm, feel the heat at the Imbaula Music Festival in partnership with SAFM, where music, culture, and community come alive. Join us on the 2nd of August 2025 at Pretoria Botanical Gardens from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. to vibe to Sanal musician Calvin Momo, Amanda Black, Zing Lumalo, Trompis, and many more. More than just music. Share stories, spark change, and unite against gender-based violence. Grab your tickets at imbaula.co.za. Brought to you by SAFM and SABC1. Hear the rhythm, feel the heat. Imbaula. The Morning Brief.
What's the conversation being had within the department and within the broader Gauteng provincial government around the agitation we've been seeing around issues of pressure brought onto the healthcare system by uncontrolled migration?
We have to provide health care, not just only for those people, but to also protect the community. Because where we come from, for instance, if currently you have issues like monkeypox and measles, if we do not treat people to then prevent them going to spread such diseases within our community, then we would be really neglecting our duty.
That's Dr. Mkhulu Silepe, who is Gauteng Department of Health Acting COO.
Tulasizwe Simelane on The Morning Brief.
It's season 2 and the stakes are even higher. This time, South Africa's favourite stars are back at the briefcase, playing for the charities close to home and close to the heart. Big names, big hearts, big deals. Don't miss Deal or No Deal Celebrity South Africa, Saturdays at 6 p.m. on SABC1. Mzansi for sure.
Here, there, and everywhere. SAFM 105.1 FM in Johannesburg.
This is SAFM Sports with Tuming Kapele.
All right then, so as you can hear, we've swapped things around and Orlando Pirates, they have officially landed and they are here in studio with me. Thank you guys for joining us. I do have Tandimo Rafi, who's the Orlando Pirates media officer, 2 players from Pirates, Bitumelo Radiopane and Evidence Mahopa, and Dominique Nzimande, who's the head of digital and Suzuki marketing. As you can hear me talking about Suzuki, they actually have a new sponsor. But I do have the new jerseys that were just launched this morning. If you are looking at us on the YouTube channel, you can see 2 of the Orlando Pirates players wearing the away and the home jersey. And Tandy, I'm going to start with you. Everybody, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Let's talk about this jersey. Very interesting away jersey, and I'm loving it. But we've seen how a lot of people are talking about this jersey on social media. How have you seen the reception from the fans, and also just let us in on the inspiration of this jersey?
I think first and foremost, just to greet you, to me and the listeners of SAFM, and to thank SAFM for affording us this opportunity on your platform. And then in terms of the jerseys, I'll start with home, near and dear to my heart. That's the jersey we'll be sporting Skutinska Maminzela at Orlando Stadium. It's the black jersey. We've stayed with black. It's a powerful color for us. It's intrinsic to our identity, to who we are, and we wanted to keep that in our comms this season, in our approach to the season. This is the armor that we'll be using as we approach a very hectic fixture schedule. We've got 5 trophies to compete, or 5 competitions to compete in, including CAF Champions League. And as a club, we are aware that we didn't go as far as we'd wanted to go last season, but this presents us with an opportunity to start afresh with a brand new campaign. And who better to do that with than our technical partner, Adidas. They have outdone themselves yet again. So yeah, I'm sure, when we come out in that domineering black, our presence will be felt, and the players, they've proven themselves that they will carry that badge with pride and just give us the inspiration we need as the Bucks family and fans. Then bring it back to the away jersey. We always try to be playful with our away jersey. We've always tried interesting. In the past couple of seasons, we've been trying different colorways. And this season, we wanted to go back, keep it fresh, keep it interesting, keep it moving, but we wanted to go back to our traditional colors as well. And white is as one of our corporate colors, and also a very key in terms of the identity of who Orlando Pirates is. We've always been black and white. But what we love about this one, when Adidas presented this idea to us, and I've learned something new. I didn't realize that there's a color from the Johannesburg has a color. A flag. So that represents the Johannesburg flag, and the interesting diamond shape and all the shapes in there. They represent the innovativeness, the hustle and the bustle of the city, and that's what we stand for. And we're proud of where we come from as Joburgers.
Absolutely love them. I think I'm more drawn to the away one, but I'm sure there is a cut for ladies too. But we'll talk about that and the pricing just a bit later. Evidence. Let's start with you. I'm sure fans are just like, shoo, he has signed another deal with Pirates, so he is staying here. He's not going anywhere. Let's talk about your thoughts on the jersey and how you feel it's going to help you guys do better than what you did last season.
Hello everyone. Yabulelang evidence makhopa. Nthenga rata ebulela gore SST abuletse gore ina le that thing ya represent Joburg. As you can see, so we only have gems to go scouting. So yeah.
So Ritlavona only busy ukora even more because of this one that you'll be wearing this time around.
Yeah, but na it's not about na always. So take karata already. Karata vona le monna molo mo house le na akira minutes, and I know ukora not ukora.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Definitely, we'd love to see Boitumelo featuring even more this season. Boitumelo, I know you were part of the COSAFA competition this time around. How do you think this is going to help you to get more game time this time around?
Dumelang, everyone. For the past few months that I've had with the national team coaches, like the likes of Coach Vela, he once told me something about trying to believe in myself, which is what I did. So coming to this new season that's coming up, I think it will be a bigger challenge for me because everyone is ready. Like we all saw what happened in the preseason camp that we went to in Spain. So everything worked up very well, if I can put it in the right words. So with the new season coming up, I think we as Ama Buccaneers, we're ready to rock, and I'm just wishing for the best for each and everyone that's going to participate.
I mean, you guys have a new coach. How's the new coach, Evidence? How are you gelling?
No, I think he also adjusting very well, because I think it's also funny. He also allow his players to be themselves. So I think working with him is gonna be the great thing, I think.
Well, we are yet to see how he's going to inspire you guys to win. Dominique, let's head over to you quickly before we wrap up. I know you guys are coming on board as a new sponsor. Why Orlando Pirates?
Yeah, thanks to me, and good afternoon to the listeners at home and to yourself as well. Yeah, it's a very exciting partnerships for us. So just to give some background, sponsorships have been a part of our strategy. I mean, recently you saw we partnered with Cricket SA as their partner there, and we've also been doing some on the ground work with Varsity Cup and Vuselelo tournament in Tembisa. So we were on the lookout for a big team to partner with, and when the opportunity came through with Orlando Pirates, I mean, it was a no-brainer. They've got a very big, very loyal fan base. It's also a team with a lot of heritage and legacy as well. And Suzuki is also a brand like that. I mean, Suzuki is over 100 years old.
Right.
So it's a brand, two brands with a lot of legacy, with a lot of loyal fans on one side and loyal customers on the other side. So yeah, we're looking forward to interacting with the fan base and trying to turn more Orlando Pirates fans into Suzuki customers as well.
Looking forward to see how that partnership is going to work and how both sides are going to benefit from this partnership. But we have run out of time. I really wish we did have more time. That is Orlando Pirates, and I do know that you can get the jerseys at Thandi quickly.
Jerseys are available from the Orlando Pirates shop at Orlando Stadium, from our online shopping, as well as Addy outlets and outlets nationwide. Men's jerseys are available at 299, and we also have the female cards, ladies cards, kids, as well as men. So
Well,
we're covered for everyone.
With that said, it's time for us to make way for Greg Host with the news. Ke nna Tumi Kgapele, Modimo ke yo.
Thank you, Tumi. EFF speaks on Parliament's police probe and Ramaphosa reacts to US bill against South Africa. Good evening. The EFF says Parliament needs to complete its investigations into the allegations made by the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner about rogue police and criminal syndicates within the stipulated 90 days. Yesterday, the National Assembly resolved to establish a parliamentary ad hoc committee to probe these allegations. EFF leader Julius Malema.
We need to work under pressure. We need to work under pressure so that we can try and deliver whatever report within a short space of time. And when it becomes practically impossible, we'll have to go and ask for an extension in the assembly. We've done that before. But let's get the work started. That's what is important. We need to get the work started and not complain about whether the time is short or what. Once the amount of work is presented before us, we'll then work on that. And when we see that it's becoming practically impossible, we'll go to the assembly and ask for more time.
President Cyril Ramaphosa says the decision by the U.S. House of Representatives Committee on Foreign Affairs to approve a bill aimed at punishing South Africa still has to go through a process before it becomes law. Authored and introduced by Republican congressmen in April, the U.S.-South Africa Bilateral Relations Review Act is viewed as part of efforts to provide President Donald Trump with the tools necessary to impose sanctions on South African officials and the ANC in particular, who choose to support U.S. adversaries like China, Russia and Iran. President Ramaphosa says South Africa will continue to engage with the U.S.
We've heard about what has happened in a House committee.